Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Castaway Anime. I'm Crunchy Bagels doing the intro because Neon's throat is killing him. And Neon Manta, you say your name now.
Yeah, that is the name, Neon Manta. If you hear me coughing a whole bunch this episode, it's my throat working as intended.
And we're joined today by two very special guests to discuss the Winter 2024 anime season. Let's just go in alphabetical order. Your names both start with K, but
Yeah,
Kai.
what the fuck?
I guess I'm first then because KA. Hi, I'm KaiDoesAnime, relatively new AniTuber. I make videos about anime and anime adjacent stuff. So glad to be here.
Yo, what's up? I'm Keksi. I like Squid Girl. That's about it. Let's just jump into this shit.
Alright, glad we got our introductions out of the way. And yeah, I guess I'll lead us into the... Well, actually, before we get into the first show, we should discuss our thoughts on the winter season as a whole, just brief, cursory stuff. Was it
This
weak?
season
Was it strong?
sucks. Like,
Season's weak.
It's better than last winter.
Yeah, true. I will say I'm having a decent bit of fun watching seasonals for this winter, mainly because I just didn't watch the Isekai. Who'd have thought that when you don't watch the most bottom of the barrel trash, anime can be fun? Insane. I never thought it would be again for these seasonals, but you know what? Fun can be had if you just skip the Isekai. Lesson to take home.
dude,
But for
half the
everything
shows
else,
half the shows in the season, like, didn't even have to be an isekai, but just were. Like, they could have been a fantasy thing, and I honestly think they were doing something at, like, the board meeting, where, like, they would pitch their idea, and the guys would be like, this could be fine, but I don't know, and he's like, but what if it was an isekai? And then that's the only reason it got greenlit. Like, I don't understand what was going on this season with some of these shows. But yeah,
actually, I just realized
pretty
that
fucked up.
two of the shows that I watched this season were technically isekai, but one I dropped before they got to the actual isekai part. So you know what? I still avoided it the best I could.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Just
when, like, the
skipped before I
season-
got to the isekai jump scare.
When so much of the season's good shows are sequels, like second seasons, third seasons, that kind of thing, or fifth season in the case of Kingdom, it's like, what is going on here?
It is
We
five
need
seasons.
more like good first season
Wow.
for this season, but it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, of this block in particular, there's only 3 shows that I am considering continuing. That I think I will at least give another episode, one of which I'll probably have to finish due to Castaway Anime. But the rest of them, yeah, something that struck me is that the production values, particularly in the backgrounds for this season, are not good.
Yeah, it's not up to par, honestly. Like, I was expecting. I'll just come clean with this. I was expecting to drop every single show this season. There was a single show that I am like, I don't just like, but I love, and I was talking about it with you guys like yesterday a bit. You know what I'm talking about. We'll get to that when we get to
Yeah.
it. But for a lot of these, I ended up just like, I watched through all of them, but I ended up 2 times speeding like the ones that I just knew would be complete trash. So I have like a pretty fair balance of shows here that I basically watched, and some that I've kind of just like skimmed through.
Yeah, Neon, you haven't been talking much, so do you want to put in your piece to this conversation?
Yeah, it's a sequel season because all the big shows are the sequels. The
Yeah.
first thing I heard from literally anything about new anime this year was, bro, you gotta check out the second Mashal OP. It's fire.
On my currently watching for this season, I have Tomozaki Season 2, I have Mashal Season 2, I have Urusei Yatsura 2022 Season 2. Yeah, just a lot of sequels. I guess it is my sequel season in the sense that they're all shows that I've talked about. Some of which for 2 hours and nearly 50 minutes. But in terms of actual new stuff, maybe not the best. But you know what? We can start off, because we do this in order of popularity, kind of split them into 2 blocks. But the first show on this list, it was hyped up a lot. As soon as it was announced, everyone just put it on their plan to watch because they knew it'd be a big deal. Solo Leveling. How do you like that?
Mid.
Yay!
I've got a lot to say about this show, but mostly because I'm a huge fan of the manhwa and the web novel. And it's interesting how they adapted it.
Yeah, I mean, my perspective on this is pretty warped because like the only thing I knew about Solo Leveling going in was like there's the blue guy and he does that little smile. But other than that, I went completely blind into this. I had no idea. I didn't realize that like the plot for this is literally just like, if anyone remembers like Gate, that's all this felt like to me. Like
I was literally about to say
a
when I
fucking
was
portal opens up and like weird creature like I don't even know, fucking mutant ants come out of the other side. I was like, oh, okay, what?
I was literally about to say that when I was watching the show, like this is literally just the plot of Gate, except without the waifus, and I guess humans are using magic this time instead of just decimating the fantasy hordes with military tech.
Yeah. So fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, so I read the first few chapters of the manhwa ages ago. God. Enough years that I had forgotten everything that happened until rewatching this. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's how it begins. And I actually never made it past the statue room because I didn't like it. I don't remember why I didn't like it. But I know I didn't like it. But coming back to it as an anime, I was actually surprisingly enjoying myself. The episode feels shorter than it is. I was not expecting it to end, but like when it did, I thought there was still probably like 5 minutes left. But I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're done now. That did not feel its length.
Typically in shitty isekai or like these shitty fantasy shows, they'll do the thing where they'll have their inciting incident, then they'll like maybe set aside some time to establish the main character, his place and lot in life in the society. And then there'll be the turning point event at the end of the episode where he gets his, superpower and then becomes the coolest guy ever. This one's actually paced out to the point where they're banking on the cliffhanger and hoping that the audience will just be invested enough in the story to check out the second episode.
Yeah, not having this be like a double length episode was a bold choice. I don't know if it's
should
the
that just
right
be the
one.
standard now? Like everything just double length. Fuck.
Just the way that this story is like structured, honestly, I think it would have made sense here. Just because you end with in the middle of the inciting incident, it feels like you're ending on just a weird note. And having the second episode, I haven't seen it yet, but knowing the story, it's going to just be a very hard act to follow up from just the high of that inciting incident. So just having that, like, if you wrapped up that inciting incident as, like, the first episode and just had it be double length, I think it would have been better as a first episode.
Yeah, I can see that. Honestly, I thought this first episode was structured like really weird. I noticed they were doing this thing where it's like, it felt almost like A1 knew you read it beforehand because they're making like a lot of like build up and like building up a lot of lore with these characters that we see like for like 5 seconds and they're just like kind of walking around doing shit. And I didn't really understand what they were doing. Like it was very exposition heavy.
Is it okay if I spoil this? Like,
yeah, I don't care.
They're
dude.
not plot relevant
not
for like
watching
40
this.
chapters. It is one
So
of the
then
most
why is it
bizarre
here, dude?
choices in the
That makes it even worse.
adaptation.
Dude.
So the blonde S rank hunter or whatever, is she like not gonna show up for the next 5 episodes or something?
She is the main love interest. She
dear.
is
Oh
introduced.
no, the healer
way
girl
later.
got cucked.
Oh my god.
She's introduced way later. She is not plot relevant in like all of season 1 of the manhwa, really. Like it is an odd
Does healer
choice
girl
to-
die?
there's
Okay,
a
maybe
lot
let's
of
not get
very
that-
odd
Don't,
choices.
don't tell me
Let's
that
not get into
much,
that.
but
Yeah.
I have a feeling if there's no way they're gonna establish a potential love interest that early and then have it be replaced with someone better unless she dies.
Yeah, the other thing that's like really weird is that opening fight. It's like this series is known in manhwa for being very good with its fights, so it makes sense that they opened on a fight, and I think the fight itself is fine. But
Yeah, it is animated
that's-
pretty well.
that is a very plot relevant fight, where if you've
Wait, it
read the
was?
manhwa, it's like a
Wait,
holy
what?
shit, they're showing this.
I thought it was just fucking fodder.
The
Like,
ants?
I thought it had nothing to do with like.
Yeah.
I
the
have
ants were
they
just
on
don't-
my
like
notes.
NPCs.
Let me. I want to read
They
out
don't
my
explain
notes here.
why that is a big deal.
That was a big. I thought
But
that was
it's kind of a big deal.
The hunter.
The characters that you see-
Yeah, same.
The characters that you see there, the S ranks, are very big deals that just aren't set up well.
I assume they're big deals within the context of
And then
the
that
world. I did
fight
not
is a
realize they
very
were-
historically significant fight that is, this interpretation of it is anime original. It, like, the
Huh.
manhwa starts at the dungeon raid.
That is weird.
Yeah, because when I watched that opening scene, I was like, I don't really remember this from the manhwa. And sure enough, I guess it is anime original starting off with that. I also thought it was just the worst part of the episode, because one of the cardinal sins of action-heavy series, or even series that aren't that action-heavy, but that just want to lure you in, they show a fight at the very beginning, but you do not have the requisite context to understand the stakes of the fight or be invested in it.
Yeah.
And at the
That's
very
exactly what I
least,
was
this
thinking.
is playing double duty for world building, so you could try to justify it in that way. I still think having the fight be as long as it was, which wasn't particularly long, but still like over a minute, it was unnecessary considering I'm not invested in it yet. They're ants. Why do I care?
Yeah,
They're just a
like,
bunch
are
of
these things
fucking
powerful?
ants.
I just don't.
I don't know if they're
The-
powerful.
So many
I mean,
question marks.
That's
they,
the
well, I guess
problem
they
with
are.
it.
White ants
It's-
stronger than the red ants.
So
They're
they
white,
are very
Leon.
powerful.
Why are you asking questions?
They are very powerful, and the manhwa, we don't actually see this fight in the manhwa, we only hear about it. But when ants do show up in the manhwa, you fully understand why people should be scared of them. And that takes a long time to build up. And part of
Is it
that
like
is
a Hunter,
they build
Hunter
up.
Chimera ant situation. Are they,
Yeah.
like scary ants.
They're terrifying ants.
I'm gonna be honest. This is just making me even more concerned about what I
Yeah.
just watched. Like, I didn't think any of this was like a very big deal.
So
I'm
the
Yeah. What were
the
you
the
saying?
other weird thing is that the S ranks are built up to very differently, where you just see them a ton in this episode. Like the director, or sorry, the chairman of the Hunter Association features particularly heavily, and that is weird on its own face. But like the way the manga structures it is that you slowly build up through the ranks of hunters, where you see, okay, this is the level of like a D rank hunter. And then you see how much more powerful a C rank is, then you see how much more powerful a B rank is, so on and so forth, until you get up to the A ranks and the S ranks, and how just huge of a gap there is between them and
I
everyone
was gonna
else.
say
And you
the
don't get
only
that here.
the only grasp of difference I got between like the guys we see in the dungeons and the only real S rank we get to see in a state of quantifiable action was that one girl in the baseball cap doing flips all over those buildings, and I was like, that's what separates an S rank from like a B rank. They just do cool flips and move pretty fast.
Yeah, it does a terrible job of building up, like, to them in this. It's just like those two are the big like, why did they choose this? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, you're allowed to
Oh, yeah,
swear.
go
I mean,
ahead.
I've been swearing like a
fuck shit
sailor
down.
already. I hope.
Like,
hope
Jesus,
fucking sure.
they made a weird decision here.
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah,
can't speak as to how this is compared to the manhwa, obviously, because I didn't get very far in the manhwa. I do think what Neon was saying about, the only thing separating an S rank from a lower rank is that they do flips. I actually think the prestige that girl had of people flocking to her on the street did a decent enough job of selling just how powerful
Well,
she
yeah,
is.
for popularity, yeah, but
Yeah.
I have no idea what like the power difference is.
Yeah, I didn't really mind not seeing that though, even if it is just flips that we see for now. Like I just assumed, oh, it's gonna be insane later.
It
But the
bugged me in
main
the
grasp,
fight because in the opening fight we see 4S ranks, and they look marginally powerful or marginally more powerful than the other hunters that we see in the fight. Like, sure, they can fight the ants, but like we don't really see how much more powerful they are than just the guys that are getting ambushed and
They can
like
do
not fighting
fire
back.
and punch magic, but harder.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Uh,
something. Let me think. Yeah, I could kind of tell, like, straight away, just based on the name, right? It's called solo leveling. I'm like, okay, so when is, like, I kind of expected this end to be like this. I was like, okay, well, he's gonna become, like, a solo leveler or some shit, so that means his entire squad's gonna get fucking wiped at some point, and it's probably gonna be the cliffhanger for this episode, and I could kind of, like, it was kind of weird, because you were saying, Crunchy, how the episode felt pretty fast-paced. I felt like the complete opposite. I felt like it was trudging along at, like, a snail's pace, where we're just like watching these characters walk to places, say 2 lines, and then cut to someone else doing the same thing. And like it was pretty cool at some points, like with some like there was some like decent animation throughout. Like I liked when that one girl, I don't know, she looks like Arkwood from Tsukihime, the blonde bitch. But yeah, like when we're following girls like that, like okay, well we have like a bit of content here, but for the most part it's just like a lot of ugly men that I was having to stare at the whole time, and that made me pretty upset.
well, see, the reason why I say
the
it's
whole-
fast enough paced is that it gives you just enough time to sort of get situated in their scenario and his position with the party and, you know, the system. Because in my eyes, the scuffed version of this show would be start like just getting to the part where everyone gets wiped out as quickly as possible. Which would be like the isekai thing of, oh yeah, first 2 minutes of the episode, you die in a car crash, you don't even know anything
First 2
about
minutes
them.
of the episode, you wake up in a bus after ripping off of the beginning of Elfen Lied.
I will say that like the pacing for the rest of the episode after the fight, it's like an almost like panel for panel adaptation
Is
of
it?
the manhwa with the like random inserts from like
Yeah, the
why am I seeing the
flashbacks.
chairman here?
Panels of
Why
the
is there
manhwa,
exposition?
like, you
Like that stuff is
compare.
getting inserted, but everything else is just a
That
straight
pissed
adaptation.
me off, man. I was like, okay, we're finally getting some content, and then he just like flashbacks to something completely arbitrary. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? I wanted to watch them all die. So I don't know. There's like a lot of stuff in this first episode that just kind of like rubbed me the wrong way.
I mean, I didn't think
it
the
all in
flashback
color?
was arbitrary. It was during a bit where he's setting up what being I wanted to say hunter just because I have Hunter x Hunter on the brain. Yeah, I
It's
forgot what
literally
they're
the
actually
Hunter
called.
Associations.
Oh,
Yeah,
it
they are
literally
hunters.
is hunters? Okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
god. Like,
Okay,
I'm being
so I
pretty
wasn't
harsh
wrong.
on
But
this,
yeah,
obviously.
he's basically setting up what being a hunter means to him. It's because he's financially destitute and needs to help his family out. And so I
Yeah.
understood what that flashback was
No,
about. I thought it
I
was
get it.
well placed.
I just like I didn't like the feeling that I was constantly getting blue balled the entire episode. Like it would be about to like pull something, and then it would just like switch to something completely different, and I was just like, it just felt like they were trying to handle too many plot threads at once, and they should have kind of thinned it out a bit to like get like a more main thing on track or something.
It felt like they were pandering to people who had read the source material.
Yeah, it really did. Like
And like as someone who read the source material, I hated that. Like take that part out.
okay,
like, I don't-
Yeah,
Seeing this as is, like the actual content, that like I'm good enough with that. Just have that be the show.
for sure. But yeah.
Like I'm excited about it still, even with all my criticisms of how it's adapted. Like Sawano soundtracks always like are
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
he was popping off. sure.
I think ironically the opening would have been like the actual opening would have been a better opening to the show than the fight scene that we got. Because it shows off like a fight that is just really cool. It's really well animated.
Mm.
But like the production as a whole seems somewhat misguided.
It's weird. Like sometimes it actually looks pretty good. Like the opening fight scene had some pretty good sakuga throughout. There was also like I hope I'm not mixing the shows up, but there was like a pretty towards like the end when they're all getting slaughtered. I thought that also had some like cool I don't know, like explosions or whatever it was, the fire.
It's got some amazing
but, like,
directing in that sequence.
Yeah, but there's like some things about it, like the character design specifically. I don't really know what the manhwa looked like, but from just like the anime alone, I kind of felt like there was a lot of like blandness going on, and like that might just be because I don't like staring at so many guys.
I'm looking at the manhwa literally right now, so I could get a point of comparison.
Yeah.
While the designs look like they've been adapted one to one, I feel like they're a lot more expressive in the manhwa. Like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at the conversation between the main dude Sung and the healer girl, and she's like a lot more expressive. There's a lot more cartoonishness to it.
The art style at the beginning of the manhwa also is slightly different than it is in the rest of it, so they're very much adapting the later art style.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not something I really know much about, but
Yeah. I've read this like multiple times. This was
okay.
like my guilty pleasure for the longest time.
I'm curious to see what like a chapter of 190 looks like in comparison.
Yeah. Like what I'll say about the manhwa is that what it does well is the pacing of the power fantasy, and the fact that the pacing here feels off.
So it is a power fantasy.
It is a
that
power
was
fantasy.
That was my big fear coming
He's
out
a
of this
solo
episode.
leveler.
It's a-
leveling.
He's a
it's
solo
power
He's gonna
fantasy.
become the strongest hunter. Of course it is.
It's a power fantasy that is paced well enough that it doesn't feel too indulgent. Like it feels like he earned his way up the ladder.
As long as
Like,
it's
they're-
not like overly indulgent, I'm fine with it.
It's-
But that was my big fear, that it was just that was going to be the main appeal of just seeing this guy become a badass, but also you're projecting onto it, and there's not going to be at the very least the stuff outside of that wouldn't be as interesting.
At the pace that they're adapting it, my guess is that it won't be like a true power fantasy this season. I think it's 12 episodes. Yeah,
Oh,
if it's
damn.
just 12
That's
episodes,
rough.
I doubt it'll turn into like a true, like, he is just the most powerful thing on the planet this season. Because
So like,
it takes
why
a
is
while
this
to
one
get there.
gassed up so much by manhwa readers?
Jesus, the art is beautiful. Like, this does fights just so much better than really
Choreography.
anything else.
Yeah.
And I think it's also the pacing. The pacing makes it like a lot of manhwa just go straight from the like inciting incident to like, oh, he's the most powerful being on the planet. And this takes its time. There's a build up to it.
So he doesn't become God at the end of season 1, like in God of High School.
As soon as the inciting incident is over, he is still the same person. He's not any more powerful.
Because after
He's still the weakest hunter.
this is the third time I'm trusting manhwa bros to be like, okay, surely this
This is
time
the one.
I'm gonna be honest.
this is
I've
the one
read
that
the
you
other
hyped up so much.
manhwa that like have gotten adapted into anime. I think they're kind of shit.
The Tower of God sucks. The God of High School
God
started
of High School
good,
blows.
and
At
And
least
I've read
Tower of
like
God had Kevin Penn.
300 chapters of it or something. I'm like, this has to get good at some point, and it doesn't.
then God of High School was good at first, but then the power scaling went
Kinda dropped
insane
off.
by the end of it, and to the point where he just became God at the end. Was fighting like fucking shark Sephiroth.
He is
or
the god of
something.
high school, man. Come
I
on.
would rather just watch fight like choreography on YouTube than watch God of High School because it's the same experience, but maybe with more story.
It was good at the first half was actually really good. It's like a genuine shonen, and then it unfortunately goes off the rails.
Yeah, this is out of the manhwa that have gotten adaptations. I think this and Tower of God are by far the best source materials. The other ones are kind of bad source materials. They're just long.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Noblesse, but I didn't watch
Oh,
that
God,
one because I'm not.
Yeah,
that
we
is
have
dog.
another.
I don't like Twilight.
And we have,
Noblesse is
we do
terrible.
have another manhwa down the list here, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember.
Dr. Elise.
Dr. Elise is a manhwa.
that's
was
a manhwa?
after. I'm pretty sure. I mean,
I
there's
think
no
that one
way a
was.
Japanese
Yeah.
manga author or a novel author or whatever decided to make their character Korean on purpose.
Oh,
I'm gonna be
okay.
so
Yeah.
honest. It was so generic that I could not tell.
Well, when we
I-
get to it, I'll
yeah.
spoil that I only watched 5 minutes of it, but
All right, well,
Uh,
unless we have any other parting notes for Solo Leveling, I think we've given it a pretty fair shake so far.
its first episode was better than most of the like generic fantasy isekai anime that I've seen of their first episodes. I still hesitate to call this one good because it just feels like a better execution of the same generic, bog standard premise. The only interesting part throughout the whole episode was that little side plot or thing about the government wanting to take the magic stones dropped from the monsters in the raids and use it as a clean energy source because it's better than wind, geothermal, nuclear, all that shit.
Well, I think I'm probably the most hooked on Solo Leveling for the out of the four of us, except for maybe Kai. I know he has his qualms with it, but he's clearly a fan of the original.
Yeah,
But
I'll watch it. I'll
dropped it.
watch all 12 episodes, but I'm concerned.
If I didn't want to, if I didn't have to watch it for the podcast because it looks like it's going to be the most popular new show of the season, I'd probably drop it after the first episode. But hey, maybe it'll turn it around this season.
I think I'd continue even without the podcast. Not sure if I'd finish, but I think it has something good going right now. It managed to put a lot of tension into this final encounter of the episode where they're trapped in the room. It's just a matter of where it goes from here, which is kind of the name of the game for a lot of these shows that I want to watch more of, where this seems like it could be good. It's just a matter of not doing the bad things.
All right, I'll make sure to keep this moment of aspiration and
Yeah,
hope
get that clip.
Get that clip for when we do Solo Leveling episodes 2 through 7 next month, and then we'll see how you're feeling from there.
Maybe I probably jinxed it.
It'll be like that one SpongeBob clip where it's like, "Look at you, you're so young and happy. Where did the years go?"
Oh no. But, yeah,
But
that's
I'm
pretty much all
sure-
have to say
I
on
think
Solo
I've said
Leveling.
my piece. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sure
Like-
Delicious in Dungeon won't fail us, am I right?
I liked it a lot.
I watched this at AX when it premiered, like, early. So, I don't remember a lot, but I did like it. I love the animation. I thought it looked really good. I was gonna go back and screen cap some clips so I could transparent them for videos. Like, there was some stuff in here that I actually really liked. My friends have been gassing this up for the last, like, 5 years, like, the manga. So they were super hyped for this. And yeah, it was like, I was pleasantly surprised. It's just like a more relaxing show. I liked it a lot.
It almost kind of feels like not full on Iyashikei, but the closest a studio like Trigger could allow themselves to hold themselves back enough to make as an Iyashikei.
It's very much a vibes piece, which I didn't expect. I expected it to be more comedic and maybe a bit more fast tempo, but it's funny because it starts off with the inciting incident of the main dude's sister is currently being eaten alive by a dragon. So you'd think, oh wow, this is shockingly grim for this kind of show, and they're gonna have to rush to save her. They're kind of chill actually. They're like, okay, we need to save her, but we're also gonna cook good food on the way, because the reason why we lost the fight is because we weren't eating enough.
Yeah, let them cook, bro.
They do kind of they didn't explain it in the first episode, so I imagine they get into it later. They do explain that the elf girl Marcille or whatever however you say her name says that she said a line of like, I remember my first death was to a slime, and then also talks about, should I resurrect this corpse from this plant with my magic. So from the sounds of it, it sounds like you can get resurrected in this fantasy world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they talk
that
about
line
in the first
took me
episode.
really off guard, because I was like, oh, okay, so it's like a Log Horizon situation where you don't die when you die. which sort of puts it into perspective why they're not rushing as much. Because, you know, for the first half of the episodes, it's like, well, why aren't you
maybe it's like
getting the
a
hell
massive
over there?
inconvenience or something.
Yeah,
I think in the
that's more what it
first-
seems like with those lines.
I think one of the earlier gags in it is like, can we resurrect a person from poop? Like that is
Yeah,
definitely in the
'cause he
first
does
episode.
say something about like I heard a tale of us like a dead adventurer getting resurrected from getting like shredded up into pieces. You think you think it could do it from poop?
Yeah, I think this is the best first episode of the season by like a
Oh,
wide
yeah.
margin.
Well, actually, it's close to the one that I want to talk about later, but like it just felt good to watch an anime that just looks good. Like especially in this day and age, like there's so many shows that like kind of have like mixed production value, but Trigger really came in like steaming with this one.
That's the trigger difference, baby.
This thing
Yeah.
is beautiful.
Yeah,
I think
the
this is one of
visuals-
Trigger's best looking shows.
The visuals are absolutely in part hard carrying this episode because I feel like this show could go in one of two directions. One of them I will like a lot and it will slowly become my anime of the season, because right now I have it third place on shows I would want to continue. Funnily enough, under Solo Leveling, which I know is a crime, just because I don't think this
Put
was
it under
as...
solo leveling?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that's fine.
Because
Holy shrimp.
I expected it to be more comedy focused. I'm just not sure. Like I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy the vibes. I'm just not sure if I'd be able to sit through a show entirely comprised of that kind of scenario. But there's hope, because in the OP it shows a shitload of characters, and it sort of implies that they're going to eventually be going on this, you know, grander journey. Because right now the main mission is just save my sister. But if it's going to be a big, sprawling fantasy adventure where we just happen to cook and we meet all sorts of kooky characters, that's more up my alley. Where if we can just do that but also have cooking on top, I feel like it'll pass Solo Leveling like easily.
I might be
'Cause that's
wrong about
completely
this.
my type of show.
I might be wrong about this, but I've heard it goes in a more like, I don't know if serious direction is the right word, but it definitely gets like more plot driven in like a way that's good. Like my friends have all told me like this is what really makes it it like stands out a lot more. Like it has a more it gets like I don't know. They kind of explained it as being like a little darker as it goes on, or just like something sort of in that vein. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I'm probably gonna finish the rest of this. Honestly, it's a really comfy show right now.
Isn't it like confirmed to be 24 episodes?
Yeah,
Is
it
it?
is.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
thought that was great, because when I saw the OP and then saw the 24 episodes, that gave me hope. I was like, okay, it's
Yeah.
like just a 7 right now. You know, it's a fine first episode, mostly carried by vibes and animation and whatnot. But, you know, if it's 24 episodes, that's a lot of time to develop a really good story.
Yeah.
And from what you're
When's the last
saying
time
with
that
it, you know,
happened?
getting more plot focused, it sounds like it's going to be my anime of the season with that strategy. It's just that I wasn't as sold on the first episode specifically as I think the rest of you were.
Yeah, the first episode sold me like very hard on the comedy, especially. Like the freeze frame in the second half of it.
Yeah.
Like I had to like
screen caps that.
I had to stop it and just like take a couple minutes to catch my breath. Like it was beautiful. It's the hardest
It's
I've
like
laughed.
a fucking like YouTube video essay tier editing, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's the hardest
the
I've laughed
fact
at a
that it's
seasonal anime
low-
on purpose in a long time.
It's just a low res
Yeah.
zoom in of the same frame with the music cuts.
And that single frame, I think a lot of comedy shows this season specifically, well, maybe not comedy focused shows, but just shows that have any comedy in them could learn from. Because so much of the time is just some generic main character screaming really loudly. We'll get to a particularly egregious example in the upcoming few shows, but for like just having silence there and then cutting to just a normal ass scene afterwards, that is way funnier than any scream would ever be. And more anime just need to learn that. They need to learn the ways of silent and deadpan comedy.
Trigger's ahead of the game, dude.
They are. So yeah, I'm really liking this so far. I think I'm going to absolutely be in love with it by the end. There is no way I'm not watching another episode, because I think it's one of those shows where as it goes on, it's going to hook me in.
Yeah, for sure.
Crunchy, when you make the thumbnail for this podcast, you are contractually obligated to use this shot of Marcel as the main attraction of the thumbnail.
I am absolutely
My
down to do
goodness.
that. I'll go ahead and save that, and you should probably edit it on screen just for viewers to see. Although
Yeah,
they'll probably
I also have
already
that
see
one
the
screen
thumbnail.
capped as well.
May have been editing earlier and may have found this one.
Incredible.
Oh.
Yeah, the show is if it goes into a plot direction, I will not, turn my nose up at that. But honestly, I'm down to just dick around in this dungeon for 24 episodes and have little fun cooking adventures, because this show makes me want to cook and attempt to recreate these recipes as closely as possible, because it's about the joy of cooking and making food from your own two hands, like your own home cooked meal. Because in order it's plot relevant why they're subsisting off the monsters of the dungeon instead of going out to eat, because they're, as a party, they're low on funds, and so in order to not compromise the quality of their gear and whatnot, they're gonna say, all right, here's the deal, we're gonna skimp out on eating out, and we're gonna roll up our sleeves, we're gonna kill some monsters, and we're gonna cook them, and we're gonna eat them up. And it's like a metaphor for real life. Like, fucking millennials need to learn to do that.
So true. So true.
Myself included.
I didn't think about the sort of how it's analogous to eating out and home cooking, but now that you've explained that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I only know how to
Yeah,
cook two
it-
foods. So I do eggs and I can do quesadillas, and that's it. So
All you have to do for a
This-
case is
maybe
just
this show will
cheese on a
cha-
tortilla.
maybe the show
Yeah.
will change me, dude. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't cook, so
If they don't make a cookbook,
Yeah,
and ramen.
I felt
and
the
ramen.
urge.
I can do that too.
if they don't make a cookbook
I
that's a
felt-
tie into this, they're wasting so much money.
Oh my god.
Like, that is a merchandise.
That's why
Like,
I
make
want
one in
them to
English, make one in
make that-
Japanese. It will sell.
Make that book that the Night Dude uses, and just make like the closest English and real world ingredients counterpart you possibly can. I need all of these dishes on Binging with Babish immediately.
Yeah, I never knew I needed a fantasy cooking show, especially after I did not like Shokugeki no Soma back when that was a thing. So, like, having another cooking show in anime, I'm like, yeah, no, this is pretty good. I miss this.
Pretty chill.
I mean, it feels like this one is the one that's like has a heavy emphasis on making a full dish, and especially one from taking things just lying around and making really cool fancy things out of, because it's not like we haven't gotten cooking in fantasy before. I think maybe it was winter of last year we had campfire cooking in Another World.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that
But
show.
that one, I feel like that one he just made very simple dishes because he had the power of Amazon, so he was able to get most of the shit already done for him.
Yeah, it feels like, because I enjoyed the 3 episodes of campfire cooking that I watched, but this feels like a straight upgrade, honestly. So now there's not really a reason for me to go back to it.
Because it's that show, but with trigger character design.
Exactly.
And trigger animation.
Also, this is
Yeah, actual
such a
production
random
value.
tangent to wrap up, I guess. But when the fucking plant wrapped up the elf girl in its vines and it didn't involve any groping, I felt my faith in anime being restored by the second. That
Just wait till we
not
get to
every
Gushing with
show
Magical Girls,
has
dude.
to-
Then we'll
yeah.
change that. Like-
But
It's okay.
Wait till we reach
Delicious
peak
in
this
Dungeon
season.
lets us have it both ways.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's right now not much, if you're just watching the first episode, not much to Delicious in Dungeon outside of I want to get more into cooking. I made that one of my New Year's resolutions to try to get more into cooking because I only just started
I believe in
learning to
you.
cook for myself at the end of last year. I can make some pretty fucking killer Big Mac tacos now.
Oh shit, that's hype. Yeah,
That's
I
more
don't
than
know,
I can cook.
it's pretty much like everything I have to say on this show. Like, I don't remember everything in super detail because this was like what 7 months ago or something that I watched this. But yeah, it was a good first impression I had. So might have to get back to it soon.
But did Hokkaido
Mark-
gals are super adorable give you a good first impression? Personally, I think Hokkaido
genuinely,
girls.
yes.
What the fuck? Hold
Huh?
on, what? Wait, what?
I kind of liked it.
Neon!
I was preparing-
Neon!
I was
What are
bracing
you
myself.
talking about?
I was bracing myself for being like, okay, here comes some trashy, romance shit.
That's what
kinda
we
like,
got.
Fucking Hajime no Gal or some shit. But their relationship is actually kind of sweet and kind of cute.
They should have
And-
fucked. Like,
no. Because then that would have been the fucking inexperienced you and experience me or whatever the fuck that one was called, and that show sucked. But no, this one was
This
like
Neon
that show, but
I've lost all
executed
faith
way
in
better.
your... No.
how,
I mean,
how are
it
we
is
supposed to trust
better than
anything
that
else you say?
show, but it's not much better. It's still bad. It's like comparing a rotting pile of garbage to one that's still a pile of
the
garbage.
girl at no
but at
point
least
wanted
it
to
isn't
try
rotting.
The girl at no point tried to fuck the dude in episode 1, so that's
What did
already-
you
literally
mean? She
did.
wasn't.
That's a
She
low bar.
literally
That is a
said,
low bar.
"Hey, my parents aren't home. What do you want to do?" She was totally trying to get to that point.
She
The
fucking
thing with
fell
this show is
No,
that
did you see her
this-
lingerie?
this
She
girl-
fell asleep.
Okay, that, to be fair, was on accident. But you
Yeah.
don't say, "Oh, hey,
Did you
my
see what
parents
she
aren't
dressed up
home. What
as?
do you want to do?" Yeah, she's absolutely trying to seduce him. It's obvious from literally
not
the-
even close.
Like, by the end
They
of the
link arms
conversation,
on their first greeting.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
so clingy and so physical. By the end
It's like,
of that
oh.
opening conversation,
thought it was
she's
cute.
already clearly in love with him, and I'm like, why? I mean, the dude is just nothing. He has the most boring design imaginable. His personality is exactly what you expect just by looking at him. Which is to say,
What
he doesn't
personality?
have
He's a
a
flat
personality.
board.
Exactly.
No, dude, his
You made the
personality
point
is
for
just
me.
like cooming every time that he like the girl does anything. He's like, I'm just like imagining this in real life, right? Like, okay, so let's say some random girl comes up to you, first meeting. Oh, it's kind of cold. Let's just like link arms. And then he just starts like cooming in the corner, like, whoa! Like every time that she did anything,
Yeah,
all he
him-
did was
him
scream at
bringing
her.
up his arm being pressed up against her boob. I did not care for that part.
All
had, like,
You
he
could've cut that
did
part
was
out.
But that's
react.
him constantly. He has
No,
this
this is
thing
not
in
a
his...
constant thing.
This
It
guy was
is a
worse than a React
constant
streamer.
thing.
It was a
He's
mess.
a React streamer.
Like, and the girl's face, like the main girl, I'm sorry, but her face is like so scrunched up and freaks me out. Like, you can do gals right. I think Dress Up Darling, like the main girl in that, I haven't watched it, but she has like a really good character design. The one in this just felt really
Well,
I don't
see,
I don't
you're
see it. I don't
comparing
see it.
you're comparing God herself to some anime character.
I don't know, dude. I don't see it. I don't know what he's seeing in this girl, but it's just she just has a.
She's cute.
How is he?
I don't know.
I do actually really like her design. I don't like the main guy's at all. His is just nothing. Literally, a wooden board would make for a better character design because at least it would be honest then. This is not a person.
I think his design did get hard carried by his winter outfit. I did like the winter setting. We got
Yeah,
an actual
Sam.
winter
That's the
show in
one
winter.
good part of the show. So, before Neon said unhinged bullshit, I had this intro for the section, like, set up in my head. Yeah, thanks for ruining that, by the way, Neon. I had to yell at you for a second.
I'm
but-
sorry that I like cute things.
No, I hate happiness, I hate puppies, I hate rainbows. I just hate everything, and I hate this show. But, see, this should be the most crunchy-coded show to have ever been. Because it takes place in Hokkaido, right? So that means it's in winter. I love winter settings. I love the aesthetic. You're also learning about a very specific part of Japan and its culture. I love the detail how even the classrooms are cold and everyone's wearing like winter gear with their school uniform, because that's such a specific part of the setting that it makes you feel like the author probably lived in Hokkaido for some part of their life, and so they wanted to write about that aspect of their past. And that's really cool. And it's a rom-com. And better yet, it has a Gyaru as the main love interest, which isn't really my thing per se, but the contrast between this girl who wears like a super short skirt, Gyaru-esque stuff, because they tend to wear revealing outfits.
In the snow.
Yeah, in the snow. I think the contrast is interesting. But where it messes up is that it's just another show where it's a loser main character meets popular girl. I'm so sick and tired of these shows. How many of these do I have to watch every season? Just stop doing them.
It's
Make
complete,
good
like,
rom-coms
self-insert
instead.
bullshit.
I
It is
started watching this,
100%.
remembered I read the manga for it. And I'm like, oh, it's that generic. I forgot that I read the manga for it. Like, full stop. I had
don't
like
blame you.
deja vu flashbacks as I was halfway through the episode. Like, holy shit, I've actually read this story before.
I don't know. I thought his little thing at the start of the episode when he's so excited to move to Hokkaido that he gets out of the taxi way earlier than he was supposed to, then realizes it's a 3-hour trek to his new place, being like, what the fuck have I done?
See, I like
that was
those aspects of the show. But the thing is, this is one of those shows where you see the premise on paper and you think, oh wow, that's super cool, and then you actually watch it, and the entire time you have the better version of the show playing in your head, because it's so... This almost feels like a free pass to make me like this show, and has somehow fumbled the bag. Because like I said, this is the most crunchy-coded thing ever, and is still fumbled the bag. How did you do that? It should not be hard to make me enjoy this.
I will say there is one, well, I guess rather two major red flags about this show that I'm worried.
The entire show is
taint-
red flags.
Hold on. It's the two other gal girls who their prominence in the opening and lack of other
It's a
prominent
harem.
male
Harem
characters
shit.
makes me worry that it's gonna turn into a pseudo harem, or they're gonna fall in love with the dude. I'm like, no, keep it to the one girl.
Yeah.
and
No.
just have.
So the problem with
but
this show,
I have a
one
sneaky
of the
suspicion that's
many,
where it's going.
it's absolutely going in that direction. And the thing is, that wouldn't be as much of a deal if it was something like, let's say, quintessential quintuplets, where you can at least see why, like, they haven't fallen in love with
It has
him
a
as soon as
point.
they see him. And so there's some like, you can still have some suspension of disbelief, or like have this idea in your head that, like, oh, you can't know who he's going to pick, or there's like some reason for there to be 5 girls and there's something unique to do with each of them. Here, the Gyaru already wants to fuck him. Why have any other girls? Why pretend that they have a chance? They don't. She's so obviously the main girl. And also, how much of this show is just going to be dicking around, pretending that we don't know that the Gyaru is in love with him? Pretending that, like, finding increasingly convoluted ways to make the main character not realize that she's in love with him, when she so clearly is. Like that moment where he was like, oh, she doesn't see me as a man, that's why she was able to fall asleep. That made me so mad, because it's so clear that she is in love with him, and I just know the entire show is going to be that moment over and over
so much
again.
meandering, dude. Yeah.
There's just like so many other shows that are
I'm
so
willing
similar.
to give it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There's so many other shows that are so similar that I'd rather just watch over this. That have like
I mean,
more
yeah,
original
this
premises.
is no Dress Up Darling.
I would
because
rather
Dress
just
Up
watch
Darling
that
does this-
again. I have
a similar premise, but with themes and like an actual, themes on top of a rom-com, and that's why it's so good. Whereas this one doesn't look like it's gonna have any additional themes on top of it. It just looks like it, based off the first episode, is just going to be about a guy moving from the big city to bumfuck Hokkaido and palling around with his new Gyaru friend. I'll give it the tiniest little seedling of hope, where in that a lot of rom-coms recently have been pretty quick to, oh, maybe not necessarily quick, but have been able to get their characters into further stages in their relationships, rather than like making the show, all right, they're in a relationship, the end, that's the end of it now. And things like Love is War, for instance. If they get together by the end of the first season, I would like that. I kind of don't think it will, but if it does, like it's
Dude,
those
even
two
the
girls
first
that got me
season
worried.
is really pushing it. Like, even if it wasn't those two girls and it was just them two together, dude, like, she's
I mean,
so
if I could
clearly in
snap
love
my
with
fingers
him.
and make this show go the way I want to, I'd want them dating by the end of like no later than probably episode 3 or 4. At least
Yeah,
have
'cause
them
it's
start
so
dating.
obvious. That's the problem. It blew its load.
Yeah,
to
Crunch,
it
you know
blew its
better than
load as
anyone how much
quickly as
I've
the
been-
main guy did.
Yeah, Crunch, you know better than anyone my championing of wanting more romance anime where the characters are already in a relationship.
Oh
and
yeah,
the
for
show is just
sure.
about their relationship.
And you can do that right. There are a lot of shows that just like end at like a kiss or end at like hugging or holding hands or stuff like that. But like there's like this one show from like I don't know 2005 called like Wreck where like they fuck in like the first episode and the rest of the series is just them like actually dating and it's amazing. And like so like it's definitely possible, but then there's like a lot of other shows like this one where I feel like it's just going to be a ton of meandering, like beating around the bush, finding new misunderstandings to like ruin the plot and like drive it down to the ground. Like I don't know how they're going to last, like how is this like what 12 episodes? I don't know.
I think so.
I feel like it's going to
Well-
just like drop off.
There's so many better romance anime. Like
Neon,
I can't imagine trying to watch this as like bi-seasonal. I'm going to keep up with this.
I
every
thought it
week.
was endearing enough. Like I liked it more than I disliked it.
just watch Ore Monogatari.
Is it an all-timer romance? Hell no. Was it pleasant? Yes.
It was.
I thought it
was
was pretty
not
damn
pleasant,
cute.
but okay.
Even if you're like comparing it to the more
I thought
recent,
these kids were cute together. Damn it.
even if you're comparing it to the more recent like romance anime, this is worse than any show last year. I think.
R-
Oh my
Like-
goodness.
really?
I
Like
think this
any
is
of the
better than
romance shows
fucking
last year,
Kimi Zero.
I would take this or take over this.
Nah,
I would
I wouldn't
not
go
take
that
Kimi Zero over
far.
this shit.
But yeah, but you want to know what is peak fiction? You know, maybe Hokkaido Gals wasn't as peak as we maybe wanted, but my instant death ability is so overpowered no one in this other world stands a chance against me. Surely that is the peak that we so crave. I didn't watch it.
And I watched this.
You
Did
guys
anyone
like
else?
Elfin Lead?
Haven't
This-
seen
this-
it, but probably won't.
This was terrible. This is like the worst production value
I
of the
made
season.
it 5 minutes and tapped out.
I watched the entire thing and it is ugly as sin. Like
Yeah, I saw the CG Wiver and I was like, yep, I know what this is all about immediately.
like for the like story, it's a very like edgy, like, oh, I'm like super dark kind of story. Like the color palette is way too bright for it. They're fighting in like an open field for the entire episode with a bus. So that's a thing. I love how the OP for it is just still images of people
Oh, and the
fading
bubble
out
transitions
with
and
an
stuff.
And I'm like,
dude, I
how
even made
lazy
the
are
joke
you
with-
guys?
The opening.
I even like made the joke with the person I was watching this with. I was just like, this is like if a 12-year-old like got hold of the animator's like files and just like slapped on a ton of cool like fire FX and like all these little bubble water swish transitions and stuff. I was just like, oh my god, what am I watching?
Like, yeah, you got a
Yeah.
hold of an effects of like
Speaking
pack,
of 12,
but
speaking of
Jesus.
12-year-olds, you can tell this one was written by one, or at least written to appeal to 12-year-olds because of the fucking magical girl that shows up on the bus to isekai all the kids, instantly kills the adult teacher. I love how it's like both toothless and edgy at the same time, because we see we hear her do a little magic thing in the direction of the adults' heads, and we hear like the squishing sounds of them blowing up, but we never see like actual carnage. We only ever see like the if anything, the after, never the before or during.
I watched this on High
and
Dive,
then when-
and the censorship bars are hilarious because it's just
so
like
good.
there are
It's
scenes where it's
amazing.
like the entire screen is just censorship
Yeah.
bars, and I'm like, this, like, I've seen a lot of anime. This can't be that bad. Like,
This enhances the
What the
story.
fuck
like,
are
This
straight
they
can't
up,
be worse than
censoring?
Elfen Lied.
it actually
Or
made
is
it
it just
funny.
the gore?
Yes,
Yeah, they're just censoring the
there's-
gore.
They get stabbed and stuff, and they just like put a black bar over it. Like they could have at least used like a white bar because they were in a bus in the daytime, but no, we're just gonna use some fucking black bars that go across the entire screen. Weird. This entire
Like-
show is just kind of weird.
like there's more gore in other shows this season, and I don't know why this one in particular had to be censored like that.
You know, it might
It's
have
made for like
just
10-year-olds.
been.
So.
Yeah, probably like the TV station it broadcasted on, where it was targeted towards a younger demographic. Maybe it aired a bit earlier than other shows, and so it had to be censored for that. Those would be my guesses, but I didn't watch it, and I'm sure as hell not gonna do research into it, because why would I?
I love how the girl classmate of the main character dude was super calm about the wyvern attacking and killing all of their classmates.
It is what it is, you know.
I do love how the main character is just asleep for half the episode. That is very
Yeah.
engaging.
And there's like a lot of things like the
Until he-
protagonist in this is
Until he looks at
insane.
a character and then thinks really hard and then they die.
Shine. Yeah, just fucking kills
It's-
all of them. Like I like
It's not even like a cool like explosion and burst into blood. He just looks at them, thinks really hard, and then they just fall over dead.
It is so anticlimactic. I don't know how they're gonna make fight scenes interesting, and I kind of want to watch the rest of this just to figure out how they do fight scenes, because like they have taken like whatever cool factor you could have had with this power, and it's just they just fall down.
yeah.
How do you make this like
It's so
what
funny,
production
dude.
decision gets you to that point?
It's like
Just
Death
fall down.
Note if
Die.
it was everything
Dude, it is like
bad
that's-
and
I was saying
nothing
that, yeah,
good.
it's- Literally
Yeah, but at
just
least in Death Note,
in his
the
mind.
characters' hearts, they would like clutch at their hearts and they'd be really dramatic directing of them falling to the ground. This one, they just like
yeah, him whipping his
daintily
pen.
fall over.
Yeah, they just flop over and like gravity stops or something, and they'll like teleport 15 feet because like they don't have the production value to like figure out where stuff was in the last scene, so they just will do it whatever they want with the CG.
Yeah, and this was
No,
happening.
Yeah, this show sucks.
This was happening throughout the entire episode. And I just kept dying every time it happened. Where like every time that they would get killed or like die, the people like when they flop over, there's no like recoil from when they hit the ground. They just like fall to the ground and then their animation just ends. And it's like it's so jank. Like so many problems with this
Yeah,
series.
they're like mannequin dolls.
Yeah, like it's just like what is happening? It was very weird. Yeah, not much else I can say about this one. It was just kind of worse than mid. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, you were talking about animation in this show. However, if you want to watch a show
What
with
animation?
actual, well, yeah, that point. There we go.
Yeah, continue.
But yeah, if you want to watch a show with actually good animation, how about Metallic Rouge?
I think you meant to say Blade Runner, the animated series.
I think you meant to say Cyberpunk Edge Runners Part 2. Yeah. It's
Electric
Carol and Tuesday but
Boogaloo.
gritty.
Yeah, so
I was looking forward to this one for a while. What were you saying, Crunchy?
I want to like this show more than I actually do.
Same.
Because
same.
I like what it is emblematic of, right? So it's Bones, I think it's like 10, 15 year anniversary,
Bones
something
What
like
It
that.
Was.
25th anniversary.
25, okay, I'm way off.
It's a
But-
big one.
Holy shrimp.
Yeah. Okay, so they've been in the game
Can't
for a
fuck it up,
while,
right?
and this is their 25th anniversary piece. It's an anime original. I like the character designs of the two mains. It is well animated. It has good directing, I think. You know, shots feel like they have meaning. You can sort of feel in the back of your head when
They've
you're
got
watching
this
something
some
kick-ass
that
music
has-
playing in the fight scene.
Oh,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ, the soundtrack
Shattered
is
by
godly.
the crimson lightning.
but
I love the soundtrack to
me,
this.
the episode felt like a lot of names being thrown at me very quickly with very little context. And so my brain was working overtime to piece everything together, and I did get it by the end. I got the gist of what the show's plot is, but it took me quite a while to get
I
there.
didn't. I just saw the robots, honestly. That was about it. But yeah,
I'm
so-
concerned about
Metallic
this one because
Rouge-
it's
Me
got
too.
a lot going on.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's-
they crammed 2 episodes worth of content into one.
So
Like,
they're
there's so many
constantly
interesting
switching-
ideas here, but they just throw too many at the wall in this first episode.
They really expect you to be familiar with Blade Runner to be able to keep up with the pace.
Well,
And
I'm
I'm
not
thinking in the
familiar
back of
with
my
Blade
head-
Runner at all, so maybe that explains why I had so much trouble following along at the beginning.
Yeah, I did not realize it was so Blade Runner inspired until I saw the androids walking around with the humans, and them literally saying that, oh, we have to, continue to be powered on, or else it will be discarded when we're no longer useful. It's like, oh,
Silly little
wait a second.
replicants.
That's literally Blade Runner. Then I looked at the show logo. I'm like, wait a second. That's like almost the exact font used for the Blade Runner movies.
Even some shots in this, I was like, this is kind of reminiscent of 2049. Like, I don't know. It definitely took a lot of inspiration. I was looking forward to this one a lot because they announced this back at AX too. I went to the Bones panel, and the way they like frame this, which is what made me really excited, is they're basically saying like, we fucking hate CGI, so we're just gonna make everything in 2D. I was like, thank you. Finally, like a mecha sort of, not really mecha kind of show. where, like,
I thought the show was
animations-
gonna be a mecha.
Yeah, it's like half, not really. It's more just like cyborg looking things, but like it gets the same point
Like
across visually.
cyborg Sentai.
Yeah, and like it looks visually like pretty good. Like they were able to animate like these really complicated designs really well.
Oh, that fight scene at the end was immaculate.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of stuff to like in this, but I just feel like I don't know, I was weirdly like, and I got worried about this because when I was on Meow downloading it, I was looking through the comments and like a lot of people were saying like they were surprisingly underwhelmed.
When you were in Minecraft downloading.
Oh
it.
yeah, sorry. And so I was going through and yeah, like there was a lot of mixed feelings about it. But I tried going in with like some pretty good expectations, but I do kind of see what they were saying, and like I really, really wanted to like this show. So I mean, from visually, like I think it's keeping up for me. Like there's a few little quirks that I'm not sure about, but overall, like it has like some pretty good designs. Hopefully it stays good. Better.
Yeah,
Hopefully it gets better.
so my issue, this show is constantly bouncing around perspectives, but you get very little context into why you're being shown the different perspectives. There's one sort of side plot where a cyborg, basically he has this thing that he jabs into himself, the liquid, to keep him alive for another day, and he has to do that every day. It gets stolen from him because humans can also inject it into themselves and I guess get high off of it. So there's an illegal drug trade. And
Heroin.
it basically exists to show, to introduce us to this mechanic and the fact that, like, we get to see an android shut down. We're like, ah, damn, he kinda dead. That ain't cool. But until you get to the very end, you have no fucking clue why you're being shown it, or what relevance this character has to anything. And I think the idea behind the writing is that it is supposed to be very contextless. You're supposed to be thrown into it without any, guardrails or safety measures, and just expected to get it at your own pace. But the show won't slow down for you. It won't try to ease you into it. It just happens. And that's a very specific kind of storytelling that has a very specific kind of appeal, and I bet there is an audience that will gravitate towards this because of the way it is written. But I watched it and I was just thinking, I don't know if I like this type of storytelling. I had to read the AniList bio for the show to figure out that the two main characters work for the government, and that the nine, what are they called? The
Immortal
Immortals?
9, I think.
Immortal 9, yeah. They're apparently scheming against the government, and that's why they're out to murder them. And so it's almost like a Licorice Recoil situation. Yeah, I couldn't tell you that based off the first episode. I had no fucking clue why they were
do
going
bring it
after
up.
Yeah, there's
When? If they did, I missed it completely.
They never explicitly say that they're working directly under the government, but the main human girl Naomi does say that their task is to hunt down the immortal 9 androids who I was under the assumption, because Blade Runner, that they're the androids who have according to this show have broken the Asimov programming, stating that they can't harm humans. And I assume they've defied their programming and are becoming more sentient and capable of independence. So and then that's too dangerous. That's no good. We gotta shut them down. And then in this world, it's magnified times 100 because now they have these fucking super robo powers that were not present in the Blade Runner movies. So
Yeah,
this
see,
is throwing around a lot of themes that like just need to be resolved before I say like this is a good show or not. Like the whole like the neon, whatever the androids are called. I think it's neons. Like are very like they're portrayed as like second class citizens, like disposable and whatnot. Like they have a very good reason to want to like be able to like kill the humans because they're kind of an oppressed people. And having the main character kind of going after them has some interesting social implications if they don't address it at some point.
I noticed one of my favorite little bits of world building in this show is that I noticed when we were in that club or bar or whatever, and the singer robot was singing to all these people. All of the dancers on the poles were androids, not humans.
Yeah, and the whole like getting up to that bar, or I think it's getting up to whatever like the little opening thing is, where it's the title card and whatnot. It's just showing like them getting like carted off in like trucks and whatnot. Like it's very dystopian on that level.
Yeah, they throw him out like he was just your weekly garbage truck.
Yeah, I guess my issue with the world building is that it's just so many terms and names of things to keep track of that after a certain point I was just like, I'm never gonna remember all this. I'm never gonna remember the this institute or the that thing or whatever. Like, after a certain point, my brain just started to haze over, being like, why do I need to remember all these terms? Can you just show me the thing that they are? I'm really bad with names, and so this is like this is my kryptonite. I can't remember names at all, and so
I ended up watching
by
the
having
second
so
episode,
many
and
of
it
them,
doesn't get much better.
Oh, it doesn't.
so this
They
is
toss
like
more
the
ideas.
anti-crunchy
It's just-
show.
Honestly,
If it's just a
More world
non-stop
building.
deluge of keywords and names of things that don't get any context because that's the point of the mystery and the way this show is written, once again, I think there's an audience for that. I am not that audience. I cannot keep track of all these names of things.
No, I think like one of the issues with like dumping so much exposition on you or like all these names and stuff is like you don't know what's actually important and what you're supposed to like remember the most. So then like come next episode or the episode after that, it's just like what am I supposed to be like? It like muddles the main story. It muddles what I'm supposed to be like thinking about. Like even now, like I know you said Crunchy, you went on like the AniList bio. I have no idea what the show is about. I just saw them fighting. I thought it looked pretty cool. Some like Blade Runner stuff.
It's Blade Runner on Mars.
Literally, that's
but
it.
it's
Like,
anime.
I just that's what I took away from it. But like, I felt like there was like a lot that I just didn't get. Like, I didn't really understand like what the main girl's purpose was. I didn't really understand what that like. I don't even know if she was like a mentor figure, but like the older girl who was getting like stalked and stuff, and then her like house like light went off, and then like also like the bird girl. Like, there's all these like little things where I'm just like, okay, where does this like fit? And then like the Joker, like fucking dude thinks he lives in a society, like doing his little shit. I don't know what was up with him, just like holding this bitch captive in a cage and then talking through her with this, to be fair, like pretty good looking there were some pretty nice shots in there with like this little like floral pattern on the wall. I remember that.
Well, that
That's-
wasn't a cage.
yeah,
that
that's-
was
Oh.
one of those.
Yeah, I would.
That was like
yeah,
a church
confession
confession
Oh,
booth.
oh,
Yeah, I had
that's
to
what
go
that
to one
was?
of those
Okay.
back in the day.
That's why he states at the beginning of it, confess your sins, and she's dressed up like a nun.
I had no idea what was going on at that point. I'm gonna be honest. I was
No,
checked
media
out. I am
literacy is
not
at an
religious.
all-time decline.
There's a lot of religious imagery in this too, like confessional, the church. They have halos when they transform into their.
I did
Like,
notice that.
Ooh,
I
didn't
caught
think about
that
the
one.
Halos actually.
I caught that one. Reminded me of Blue
I
Archive.
see. It's an
That's better.
Evangelion reference.
Yep.
Next is gonna be. Next
I
they're
mean,
gonna crucify the
her-
enemy.
The mech designs do kind of look very Ava unit-esque.
True.
Yeah, they definitely
Uh,
a slender.
The
kind
whole
of
time
mech.
I was looking at the Rouge's like robot form, I was just thinking of, I don't know if I know Crunchy hasn't seen it, but if y'all have seen High School DxD, where the main character of that show transforms into his dragon armor.
Oh yeah.
I
actually,
did not
yeah, I
even
can
think
kinda
about
see
that,
that.
but it
Same
makes
color,
a
Same
lot of
proportions
sense.
too. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
I
pretty
will
decent
say, like, the
show.
directing and whatnot for like the actual just shots, pretty solid in this show. I think this is one of the better looking this season.
Mhm.
Oh,
Who
by
directed
far.
this one?
Does
Because
any-
there's
was
there's
Imaishi
no
involved in
way
this?
this was Watanabe.
No,
I-
this is
nah.
the guy who co-directed Carol and Tuesday.
Motonobu Hori.
I was getting Carolyn Tuesday vibes
Yeah.
from the show.
Oh, okay. Wait,
So,
is Imaishi
like,
part of Trigger? or
directing,
Bones? Am I
soundtrack,
retarded?
like that is all solid
Imaishi's
here.
trigger. Watanabe is more of the
Okay,
Bones guy.
okay, got it, gotcha. I'm getting like the panels mixed up in my head. Like the Trigger and Bones panels at AX have like meshed together, so I just like do not remember. But yeah, I don't know. It's a decent show. I hope it gets better, but because I really want to like it. But there's just like some things about it where I'm just kind of worried. It just feels like a less pristine Edge Runners, to be honest. Like I thought Cyberpunk was like pretty decent. All the way throughout, it had a good like visual aesthetic, and this one does too. But I think it's especially like after Cyberpunk came out, where like in like watching this on top of the Blade Runner imagery, there's like a lot of things where I'm just like, okay, this feels like I've already seen this before like a million times. But yeah,
I mean, if we're comparing this directly to Edge Runners by far has the better episode 1.
yeah,
Oh,
Not even
absolutely.
close.
I'm not even an Edge Runners fan, and I'll say it absolutely has a better episode 1.
I will say,
Mhm.
going into episode 2, it does stray away from Blade Runner. Like it
Oh,
is not
its own thing.
nearly as clearly inspired. It kind of starts to do its own thing. Not saying it's better. I am still like very cautious about like this could either be amazing if they pull all the ideas that they're implying. It could be anime of the season. But if they can't,
If
then
the
it's just
android
kind of
girl
bad.
And the human girl kiss by the end, I will be satisfied.
we can pray. But yeah, that's about all I have
We
to
can
say about
only
this
hope.
one.
All right, but maybe we were iffy on this one, right? Maybe this wasn't sating our, desires of what we wanted out of it. But surely Dr. Elise, the royal lady with the
Surely.
lamp, will do that. Surely it will be peak, right?
Yes. Sorry.
I made it 5 minutes into this one.
I made it
Calm down,
less
'cause
than that,
I'm
probably.
I'm
I-
convinced all manhwa are actually bad.
I 4x this one, so I was watching this like
You four
this was-
times
this was
speeded
this was
it?
like a sugar rush, man. Like, okay, let me just read out my notes for this because I have like a notepad full of like little notes I took for each of these. This is what I said for Dr. Elise. I like when the plane explode, and then I in all caps twice. Am I really expected to believe anyone could survive that shit? Where is the plane fire? Double isekai? Thank you. That's all I said. So yeah.
I appreciate that's a reverse
I didn't-
isekai.
I
but that's
didn't
it.
get to the isekai bit at all. Like I
It wasn't
tapped
important.
out before that.
It doesn't matter. It like
Well, the twist is that she was actually double isekai because she was originally born in the fantasy world as like the royal duchess or whatever, and then when she died, she got another chance at life in the human world where she became a doctor. But now when she died in that plane crash, now she's gone back to her body originally from the fantasy world, and now she's gonna use all the memories from her doctor life to have another go at that one. I guess.
Okay, but why? Why do we double isekai? What does that add to the story at all? Here's the answer.
'Cause they needed
it just
to greenlit
sounds
this
funny.
It's a
series.
quirk. It's
yeah,
quirky.
It's so quirky. It's what makes it stand out against all the other isekais.
It's not like we could have had an isekai about a duchess in the fantasy world getting reincarnated into a human world and then learning to better themselves by becoming a doctor. That wouldn't make for a
that
good
would
show.
be
I would
character
rather them
development,
just
and
stay
that's
at the
illegal
doctor
around
part.
these parts.
I watched the part about like her being a doctor. I'm like, you know what? I don't love how they're executing this, but it could be like an interesting show if they just did this. And then she goes back to like her original world, and I'm like,
Oh.
the entire interest from me is gone.
By the way, this
there
show
wasn't
is
a
so
ton in the
fucking
first place,
ugly.
but like,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, it definitely helps to watch on 4X. Like you won't really notice how stilted the animation is. Crunchy, I'm just saying, like I know you only got 5 minutes in, but if you could go back through a bit, maybe watch the plane crash in 4X, and you might enjoy it a little more because it's fucking hilarious.
I'm
Like,
sure I
and then
will.
it happens twice, and like this is the thing, like when it happens the second time, because like it's like a medias res thing, right? When it first happens, and it happens like later in the episode.
It is even funnier the second time.
Dude, it is way better the second, because like, she fucking falls and she gets on the ground. She lives, like, and Kai, you were talking about this before the podcast started, how like she just wouldn't have survived the air pressure difference on the plane crash going down.
she
But the
didn't have a
fact that-
mask on the entire time.
like, and then the plane gets on the ground. There's no fire somehow. Like they're not burning to a crisp. I don't know how that happens.
As
then
someone who
she
has
goes-
watched a lot of videos on YouTube about plane crashes, it would have just exploded. Like the
Yeah,
plane would
and-
be gone.
And this is like
What,
genuinely.
you gonna tell me about jet fuel now and steel beams?
No, it would have
Like-
just like on the way down, it would have just disintegrated.
Yeah, and like this must be like the best doctor in the entire world, because the fact that she was able to get up and start saving other like kids and passengers that somehow also lived through the plane crash, like you don't just do that. And like like these guys had like fucking third degree. They didn't even have burns because it wasn't on fire. But like she was like bandaging them all and stuff. Like where are you getting this?
So
Does
she
the
would have
plane,
lived
like,
with the injuries that they
survive?
showed
Like,
in the show. Like
Yeah,
with
and then
those
she just
injuries,
sorta
she would have
dies.
lived.
I'm just confused how she died. Like, so she saved them, got off the
I
plane,
didn't see
and
her
then
where she
phased
got
out.
wounded. I know she did get a wound around her stomach, and I guess she bled out.
Oh, yeah, I don't even know. I was just so confused. Like, the show overall just made no sense to me. I don't.
To be fair,
I mean, I
that's
did watch
kind
it
of what
4 times,
happens
but-
when you watch it at 4X, yeah.
Yeah, like I can't really blame the show for that one, but like I feel like there's a lot of shows, right? Because I 4X'd almost everything this season. I'm gonna be honest, like half of it.
4X to
and-
everything? Not even 2X?
Look, well, 2X was too slow, right? So anyway, I'm watching it on
How's
4X,
that
and like
too slow?
it was actually, you'd be surprised how slow some of these seasonal like fodder is. You're like watching it, and it's actually like easier to understand because there aren't these like really long pauses in between, like or like they don't take forever to say their sentences. So I felt like I could actually understand a lot of these anime better by the fact that I was speeding
agree.
it up
Rent
so
a
much.
Girlfriend, I absorbed a lot more of it when I watched it at double speed than I did normal speed.
Yeah, because it's just like speed reading, like it works. And like for anime, like the dialogue most of the time, especially for these like trashy seasonals, isn't that important. So like you can get all you need just from like the really stilted animation, and like when it's on 4X, sometimes that animation actually looks like decent, fine, like redeemable, but
Or
yeah.
rather, is it going so fast that you can't?
I can't process
giving
it.
yourself the illusion.
Yeah,
that the bad animation.
I mean, I am just
is
reading the
actually
subs. Like, I'm
passable.
trying to catch up with the subs, so I'm not really reading too much. I'm not really
Wait, I think...
viewing
can you hear me?
it. But
Yeah, if
I
you're
don't
just
see
gonna read it,
this
read the
is
source
not
material.
good.
It's probably better. I no clue because I didn't even know this was a
Might
manhwa,
go
but
up.
like this is
yeah,
like having suffered through it at 1x speed, like this is
Yep, hold on.
I'm
bad.
sorry to hear that, man. That sucks.
But between this and Solo Leveling, I'm starting to be convinced that all Korean manga writers are hacks.
There's some really good ones. It's just it would be impossible to adapt.
The best Korean manhwa of all time is Sexercise.
So true. That's all I have to say about this. I'm
The
sorry.
silence speaks volumes.
I have nothing more to say about this shit. Yeah,
I don't either.
not watching this again. Horrible, trash. Sorry to any Manhwa fans out there. I'm not one of you.
Yeah.
But
And now we enter an unfortunate stretch of shows where they didn't look too appealing on the surface, and I was so busy editing the 2023 Castia's Award podcast that I didn't have time to watch those ones before we had to record. So for these next 3 shows,
Nope.
I got nothing to say.
all right, Crunchy just died, but we'll just ignore that. Let's see. Yeah, the foolish angel dances with the devil.
Oh, his Wi-Fi died.
Oh
Probably.
Should
my
we wait?
god. Yeah.
No, you know, I'm sure it'll be fine. Go
Yeah,
ahead and try to
I don't think
sell
he's
me
gonna-
on this show here.
All right. Let me just try to remember what this is. Yeah,
This is
I
my
watched
hate watch of the season. This is
all of
this is
these
shit, and I
before
love
X,
it.
So
Is this the one? Okay, I think I've seen the clip from this one. Is this the one where the girl is collaring the dude?
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that online.
oh, it's
and
this
I
one
did
where he goes
think-
bald. Okay, I got it.
And I think I hated that clip.
This is a bad
Okay.
show, but like the production value is like there's this part early in the episode where they have like this looping sound effect and you could hear where it ends and where they restart it, so there's like a gap in between the sound effect looping. And it's like they have to be doing this on purpose. Like it has to be this bad on purpose. So
I don't even remember most of the stuff that happened in this. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I watched this yesterday, but yeah, like I honestly had trouble even remembering which one this was because like all I wrote down was Devil and Angel do stuff, and he's like, "Whoa, she's hot," and he's bald. So yeah, that's where my thoughts on this begin and end.
I was gonna say, looking from the outside looking in, it just looks like, what if we took the fun of something like Gabriel Dropout, but then took out all of the fun and put in cringe.
Yeah, like there really wasn't much to say about this one, honestly. I don't know.
I did see people say that the manga was better, and I called them on their bullshit. It isn't. I read
Oh.
it for this.
Oh, okay.
It's like this thing is just trash all the way down.
Oh dear.
Is
Yeah.
the author noteworthy at all, or is this their first work getting adapted?
I
What
did
the
not
fuck is
check,
this
and I
shit?
honestly
Children's Playground
don't think I need to.
Entertainment.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, the studio.
What have they done? They've done
Probably nothing, honestly.
Hatena Illusion. What was this piece of shit show called? The Fruit of Evolution. That
Oh my
show's old.
god.
No, they're not even that. No, it says here the Hotline did it. Okay, no,
Oh,
no,
so they
okay,
just
here
like
you go,
they just helped
Studio.
out.
Okay, the
The
mangaka has other
Faraway
works
Paladin.
not notable.
I'm not
This-
surprised.
This is the only one that has any score on Mal. So everything else just is not scored.
Oh, it's that underground.
It's the only thing that has a shockingly high member count.
So weird. Why this one? I don't understand. Like,
20,000 members. for
oh,
the
welcome back,
manga.
Crunchy. Yeah,
Yo, my Wi-Fi cut out.
sick.
Yep.
Yeah, we're
talking about the foolish angel dances with the devil.
Did you watch this
Oh
one?
fuck. Okay. Yeah. Also, you're gonna have to mute the part where I say, "Oh shit, my Wi-Fi went out." When my Wi-Fi went out.
Make a note of that right now.
Yeah.
Just put that as like a
But-
separate audio bite.
Yeah. I also have cinnamon toast crunch because it was taking a while for my Wi-Fi to get back on, so I just got myself some cereal. But
He's eating cereal at night. It's too late for him.
Oh dear.
listen, my diet is a disaster, and I've just embraced that at this point. But yeah, I liked massive asterisk this one. The main thing being that it's not a good. It looks like ass. It does not look very
No,
good.
it's not sugarcoated. Come on.
No, not at all. It's
Crunchy, how could you talk shit about the legendary anime studio Children's Playground Entertainment?
what the fuck? I didn't even look at that. Children's Playground Entertainment. Is this? Are
This
they
is for children.
Monogatari fans? What are
This is
they?
for
That's like
children.
the main
I was
reason I
literally about
watched
to
this.
say, it's
I was like,
It's like a front. It sounds like a front for like some kind of pedo ring.
this is the most
It
haunted
really
studio name
does.
ever. I really
Oh
was
my God, they
hoping
made
this would
Haunted
provide
Illusion.
something.
Oh my god. That piece of
Yeah.
trash. I know. Jesus.
Yeah, so although the adaptation is bad from what I can tell, it's very poorly animated, although to be fair, the fight looked decent.
No, it didn't.
It looked better
No, it
than I
didn't.
expected, but it did not
Come
look
on.
good.
Be meant for
But-
a second here.
Yeah, it's still not a good fight, obviously, but I expected it to be way more still panning shots. And so I guess the fact that it had any choreography at all, even if it wasn't impressive, was like
the CGI
oh,
chains
this
in
is...
the CGI chains in the fight scene are animated at a different frame rate than the actual like characters in action.
I hate
So it's
that.
stuttering.
Oh man, I love handshake.
It is
Dude,
disgusting.
I hate that.
Like,
so
what
much.
are they doing? Sorry.
It's like my biggest gripe with CGI. And it
It's like
happens so
stuttering
frequently,
as
too.
it goes across the screen.
Like, yeah, it pisses me off, but I don't know.
But the
Well,
thing is, I actually do like the premise of the show and its execution. I need to
No,
swallow
you
my
don't,
cinnamon
Crunchy.
toast
You're just
crunch.
being reminded of Gabriel Dropout's
Yeah, like, I feel like
existence.
this has been done before in like a lot of different ways. Like even that was a part-timer was not like completely similar, but like it had like a similar like generic like plot idea or whatever.
And at least
um,
season 1 is better executed.
Yeah,
We'll
like,
see.
this-
Well, yeah, obviously, Gabriel Dropout is superior to this, but I do like sort of how it unfolds. Because although it's obvious that, like, from the very beginning, that the main girl is the angel, from the show's title alone, but they they also have another guy say, "Oh, she's just like an angel," and I'm like, noted. She is literally an angel.
I honestly didn't
Understood.
catch
Cue
that.
music sting.
I didn't know. I didn't realize she was an angel until she grew wings, man. I was
Although
zoned the
what
fuck
I
out.
what I didn't expect is because I thought this show would have more chill. And so she would literally be, nice and kindly, and she'd like keep it a secret from him, and that'd be a conflict within her. Oh, is she gonna hate me if he knows I'm actually an angel? No, she just flips out and tries to kill him. And I was like, oh, based. So that part of the twist I did not see coming. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. And yeah, I just like overall the way it all unfolds, because it starts off. This show it does both a bad and great job of misdirecting you, because, like I said, obviously she's the angel, but it also at first comes off more like a gag comedy rom-com where he comes to class and he's just balding, which that got a laugh out of me. Then it turns out, oh no, it's actually part of his master plan. But he's a fucking idiot, and the teacher found out about that master plan of seeming like a dork. I also love the delivery of the line, and his voice actor nailed this, but the delivery of the line, hold on, I have it written down. It's basically like, oh, my life hasn't been very good so far, but, I hope we can make some happy memories here, as just his balding head.
Oh yeah,
I
did like that part. That was definitely like the peak of the episode for me.
It was, in fact, the peak of the episode, I'll give you that one.
I was a little worried that like he would actually just be bald like that for the entire season. No offense, anyone, but like, yeah, it
I would have been fine with it.
Was crazy.
I would have
would've
been fine with
different,
him
that's
being
for
bald
sure.
the entire
Little
episode or
unique.
season.
Would have given this some uniqueness, yeah. But
Yeah, but
they
after
wanna be
that,
Raphael and Satania so bad.
yeah, obviously it's not going to be as good as Gabriel Dropout, but I would give the manga a chance. My only fear with it,
you
Is
weren't
that-
here
This is the part
earlier,
where I
Crunchy.
said I called the
Yeah.
manga readers on their bullshit and read it, and it's
Oh.
not great.
oh, it's not great.
Called out, Crunchy.
It's
Damn.
honestly,
awkward.
the anime is better, and that's not
The
great.
anime is better? What?
the
How?
We're
the
at an
shit
all-time
production
low right
value
now.
makes it funnier.
Oh, no.
Really? Okay.
IMO.
Because my fear with the manga was that it would get way too much into the S&M stuff, that it's very clearly setting up with the collar thing, and that it'd just lean into that so hard. Obviously, it can never go as hard as a certain other show on this list,
I was gonna say.
but yeah, it'll obviously always pale in comparison to that, but if it pivots even a little hard into it instead of just focusing on being funny, then yeah, that would be disappointing.
Yeah,
But
I didn't read a ton
from
of
what
the
I'm
manga,
hearing from you,
but
it's not good.
Rough. Like I read about a little bit more than what the first episode covers, and it's just like it's trying to be funny. It's not. The the episode itself is much funnier just because like yeah, the main character's voice actor's line delivery is good, but like every other aspect of this is kind of yikes. If you want to hate watch, this is fine. This is actually a pretty good hate watch.
How
I'm gonna
would this
do
be
that.
a good hate watch? It doesn't seem that bad. I'd sooner hate watch. Well, I guess I shouldn't spoil, but there's other shows I'd rather hate. I'd rather hate watch Hokkaido Gals. Honestly, that's way worse.
I got more laughs out of the bad production value here. Like seeing the chains just kind of stutter around because they're animated on a different frame than the characters themselves. Like I was laughing so hard at that.
I don't know. I thought it was entertaining enough for a first episode. It's still not on my list of shows I'm continuing, because fuck those production values. But I thought the script was pretty good.
Yeah, they tried. Anyways,
They did, in fact, try.
what is
But
next?
a show that tried real hard, and maybe it succeeded. It's got all the effort in the world, pooling in all the talent in the anime industry. The man, the myth, the legend, the weakest Tamer began a journey to pick up trash. What? I
I
can't.
forgot this was the trash one.
It's Isekai, of course it's trash.
Yeah,
but
was this
I understand what
isekai?
you mean.
No, I think
I
this is a
remember-
fantasy.
No, it's
Was it?
isekai.
I thought
is.
this one was a straight up fantasy about a girl who
It's
just goes
not.
to pick up trash.
It's not.
Like they
That's-
mentioned that she's reincarnated, but it's not really like part of it.
It's
At least in the
That's
first
what I
episode,
thought
I
was
have
weird
no
about
clue
it.
past that.
Nah, that's what I thought was weird, because it's like, this is the show I was like talking about earlier, where it's like, I feel like they were in the board meeting and they couldn't decide how to get it pitched. So they just threw in the fact that she got reincarnated and it actually has like a whole like life before this of memories, and now she doesn't want to mess it up or something. So like throughout
See,
this
I didn't
entire
watch
episode,
this
I was just like,
because
what?
it's an Isekai.
This was shockingly good. Like
Really?
there's some actually decent
What?
direction in this, and the exposition is done in a way where it's not like being straight up told to you. It's like very naturalistic, where
yeah.
it's just kind of woven into the plot. Like I was like really surprised at how not bad this was.
There's definitely like an audience for this kind of show. I know I'm just like not that, so I can't really say too much. Like it's not like even that bad. Like it's a pretty decent show. It's kind of cute. They got their little slime thing. She has to remind him, the slime, every like 5 seconds that he's gonna die. Like that part fucked me up. I was like, I'm just like imagining this. Imagine, so like for context, Crunchy, she reads the book. She has this book, and she's like, okay, let's see about slimes. And
Should we give like a
'cause, she finds
synopsis
this-
of what this is?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think we
So
did.
you can do that. You'd remember better than I would, honestly.
Yeah, so she's like this. The main character is this outcast who has the ability of a tamer, but is extremely weak. She pulled like the short straw in life. Her ability is trash. And so her village basically kicked her out, wants her dead, and has sent mercenaries to hunt her down. So the first episode covers her leaving, or it picks up after she's already left the village, but as she's wandering off to start a new life. And on the way, she meets a little slime that's very rare. It's I want to say it's called like a disintegrating slime or something like that.
Yeah,
Where
they die
it-
really easily.
Yeah, if like a gust of wind blows on it too hard, it will just disappear. And she ends up forming a bond with the slime. And at the end of the episode, she tames it with her
Mhm.
trash ability.
Yeah, and now this is the thing, right? So she like pulls out this book that she has to like figure out all this stuff. Like I think even earlier in the episode she was like using it was she using it to like heal herself, or was she using it to she was using it for some other shit. But she pulls out this book to see what the slime can do, and she's like, "Oh, you only live for a day? That's so sad." And so there's like a solid like 5 or 10 minutes in this episode where she's just constantly like talking to this slime while she's like sitting on like a little hill in like a little meadow at night, trying to like drift off into sleep. And the entire time she's just reminding this slime every 5 seconds how he's gonna die. And I'm just like, imagine your friend gets like diagnosed with cancer and you're just like, oh man, dude, it really sucks, you only got 3 months left to live, I'm gonna miss that. And it's just like a constant reoccurring thing that keeps happening. I'm just like, why does she have to, this poor guy, this poor little slime. But
Thanks for talking
yeah.
so long. I was able to finish my cereal.
I'm glad. But yeah,
the direction in this show is actually not terrible. I think it's the best directed out of the Isekai this season by like
Okay,
a
well,
wide margin.
Best directed
That's
of
not saying
the
much.
Isekai.
It's not saying
Like,
a ton, but it's
that
like
bar
it's
is in that bar is
it's-
so far down. Like if Made in
it's
Abyss
the quality
was
of
trying
a
to
normal
reach it,
show.
like they still, the manga has like half a decade before it reaches that bar. It's so far down under. But anyway, not to knock Made in Abyss, I'm using a metaphor here.
that was a good
but-
one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the directing quality of like a decent to like kind of good show.
I can see that. Yeah. It definitely had some
it's-
heart put into it.
It's
Um,
not the worst, it's not the best.
Yeah, like I didn't visually, I didn't think it looked very interesting visually, but like again, it's just like not really my kind of show. Like I don't know, this reminded me a lot of not really in like plot I'd say, but like if anyone remembers like that, I think it was called Somali or something. It felt very reminiscent of that kind of show. This was from like 2020 or something when this aired, but yeah, it's just like a definitely a more down to earth show of her just like discovering herself as a person, I guess, or like branching off into this new life with this slime little guy who now she is a friend, which makes her happy. It's like a little endearing plot, so I can't really hate on it, but yeah, it's just not my thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just saw that. Honestly, I didn't even check if it was an isekai. I just saw the title and went, "Yeah, I'm not
It's
watching
barely
that."
an isekai. It doesn't even get like it gets brought up like once or twice.
Yeah,
But other than
and
that,
there's
like she acts like a child. Like everything about her, like if they didn't have to make it an isekai, like she just acts like a normal kid. I don't know why they did
the
that.
whole isekai thing is that like she doesn't. I might be getting this wrong because I watched the episode a couple days ago, but the extent of it is that she doesn't have her memories from her past life. It's that her
Oh.
past life talks to her as like a voice in her
that's
head.
what that was. Okay,
It's
that's a
an
little
actually
different then.
decent way of getting exposition across because
Okay.
it's like a one-sided conversation.
Okay, that's actually more interesting. I didn't pick that up. Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
So there's like
Uh,
a water drop sound effect whenever it's the voice talking to her, but you don't
Oh, that's
actually
what that
hear
was?
what the
Dude,
voice
I
is
was so
telling
confused.
to her.
I thought they were just like queuing in random SFX. Like I thought they messed up in like the editing.
It's just a bunch of
Like,
production issues.
Yeah, just like the guy in the premiere was like having a stroke. He's like, "Oh shit, I meant to use that when the slime showed up." I was getting so confused. Okay, that
Well,
clears a lot of it
that's
up.
what happens when you watch things in 4 times speed.
No, this one was in 1 times. Okay, I watched this with someone else. I was watching this normally. Okay, I don't want to hear it. I'm just
4
bad at
times is
picking shit
normal.
up. Yeah.
I see.
But yeah, it was a show. That's about all I have to say about this one. Anyone else have any
Yeah,
thoughts?
if like the premise sounds like your thing, this is probably an actually pretty decent show. It's not my thing though, so I'm probably dropping it after the first episode, but it's interesting in what it's doing.
Yeah, so it seems like all of us collectively have decided that we aren't into the premise and the execution of Weakest Tamer. However, are we into the execution of Mr. Villain's Day Off?
Too many men.
God,
Sorry.
this is boring.
See it.
Too many men, 0 out of 10. Oh, hey, that
I
rhymes.
mean, if that is a legitimate knock against it, I will. If I feel less inclined to watch it.
It is, and like it's definitely made for like a more Fujoshi crowd, I'd say, or made for girls more so. Like it's like I'll just read out what I like the notes I put for this one. I hate this art style. I hate men. He's just like me. He's so evil, so cool. They showed a shoe bill. I like the part where these two kids show up and he's like, "Hasn't your family ever taught you not to accept food from strangers?" And the kids are just like, "Nope." And then I said, "Does he ever have a day on?" Yeah, those are my thoughts.
Does he ever have a day on? That's a good question. So my main issue with this show, I only got halfway through the first episode. Even though I thought I would at the very least finish the entire episode. But the thing in the back of my mind was, is he gonna be the only main character? Is this just gonna be him?
Yeah,
and every
I think
other
so.
character is like tertiary to that? Because in my ideal world, this show would have more of like a Dragon Maid cast setup of we get more and more people involved in like this main ensemble comedy, and we see the characters play off each other. You know, eventually he stops being the villain, starts loving the world. That's probably the obvious direction that it is going in, because he does like things about Earth and is already saying, yeah, I'll spare that grocery store. At least until the very end. You know, he still wants to decimate it all, but there are certain things, like he wants to repopulate everything with pandas.
Oh no, he's
So-
definitely got a wholesome side. Like there, I know you didn't watch the second half, but like the part with like the boys or whatever, it's like him having like a little bonding moment over these like two little kids like showing up, and like I think he's like giving them some like ice cream or something. Unless I'm mixing that
Yes.
up with another show.
No,
Yeah.
no, you're right.
But okay. So yeah, he's like doing this little thing, and he's all like, he's kind of like gushing over them. Oh, I did just preluded the next show, but anyway, he's doing like these little things, and he's definitely like finding more heart for planet Earth until he finds. I mean, he doesn't find this out, but like the kids he was talking to aren't even kids; they're just like little minion fuckers that the his arch nemesis thing guy, red haired little dude, set up for him as like pawns. So
No, they're like
I
green
don't
Power
really know.
Rangers.
yeah, I don't know what's going on in this, but yeah, it was. I watched this one in 4x. Sorry, but
This
yeah.
show is just boring. I watched it
it's not
again
good.
1x, and I was like, at the end of it, I was shocked that it was just 23 minutes because I was like, it was a slog to get through.
Felt like a double length.
It felt like double length. The
Christ.
See,
whole
the
like
premise feels so up my alley because I like that sort of cute slice of life. But you need more than one character to play off
Yeah,
of, and it doesn't seem
need
like
more
any of
girls
the
in
other
this.
guys. Well, yeah, also more girls, but like it doesn't seem like
Is
any
the
of the other
pink-haired
guys.
girl on the poster not present in the episode?
If she was,
Not
I
in the
don't
first
remember
one.
seeing her.
'Cause she's got very cute design.
I
yeah,
like
she's
her
not in the
design a
first
lot.
episode. I think the red, blue, and green are.
Yeah, it's
But,
just
like-
I don't think any of the Rangers will be fun or interesting characters. I didn't really care about that red-haired guy's gimmick where he just gets lost all the time. Like I don't care. That's not even funny.
Oh no! Do not show him Roronoa Zoro.
I don't know what that is.
Yep.
But yeah.
That
Me
What?
neither.
What? You don't know who Roronoa Zoro is
not the way you're saying it. I don't fucking know.
from One Piece?
Oh, I haven't watched One Piece. Sorry. Yeah.
I haven't seen One Piece either. You don't know who Zoro is?
Oh, Zoro. Okay, I know that name. Is he green? Does he have green hair?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I do know that guy. Yeah.
Yo,
Sorry, I
hi-
don't-
his full name.
I'm not on
is-
a first
is
name basis with
Roronoa
him, so-
Zoro.
Yeah, I
I'll
wasn't
watch
sure.
One Piece when the remake comes around.
Oh yeah. Gonna watch the Wit? Not even.
Yep.
Okay. Fair.
Not even the OG. But
Yeah,
Look, it's hard to
um,
start a show that long with filler, but that's a whole different thing.
Oh my god, Crunchy, I just realized this is a bit of off topic, but when that comes out, that's gonna be a new show that we're gonna have to talk about on the seasonal
oh
cast.
god.
You lose your
We're
One
being
Piece virginity,
indoctrinated.
Crunchy.
Oh no.
Damn, that's crazy.
All right. Anyone have any final thoughts on Mr. Villain's Day Off?
Nope, still haven't seen it.
When the like
Awesome.
whole joke about him liking pandas is feeling stale by the end of the first episode, it's rough.
Off to a great start, it seems. All right. Who wants to lead into the next one? Oh god.
I debated
This is where
this
we
for
get
an
real.
hour yesterday with Kikazu.
Now, I didn't read any of that. I don't want to know what you guys think. I want to go into this completely blind with you guys. Because I have a lot to say. Because this might not even just be anime of the season. This might be anime of like the year, the last 5 years. And I have like a justification for all of this, okay? So let me cook a bit. So,
yeah, your
is everyone-
justification is that you're a gooner.
Oh, I love that we're gonna have
Shut
this
up.
debate again.
Shut up.
This
No,
show
let him
is
cook, let him
one
cook,
of the
Crunchy.
best of the block. However,
Crunchy.
that says less about
There's
my
no
taste
however to
and
this.
more about the block. Which is to
No,
say that
you're wrong.
it has.
Let him
I will
cook.
say it has soul. The author clearly cared about it, and in just having soul and a
Oh,
it's
shit.
gushing over magical girls, but in having a soul and having a pulse, it has already beaten out most of the shows of the block. However, that's not a high bar.
This
This
beat
is
out
like a
every
5
show on
out
the
of
block,
10
and it's not even
first
close.
episode.
This is like
What the
a
fuck
solid
do you
10
mean?
right now.
Not even close.
Dude, this show was so good that I went on to like I didn't even care about the other seasonals. Like I was watching this with someone and we were gonna watch like more of the seasonals this for this podcast. But like it was so good that we just ended up watching like all 3 episodes that were out for this. And it gets better like every episode. Like every episode you think it's gonna like fall apart, but it just keeps getting better. Like it keeps getting more unhinged, more insane. Every time you think it's gonna start like drifting off into like a more plot-centric premise, it just goes back to like BDSM torture porn, and it's fucking awesome. Okay, so now let me cook a bit. Basically, has everyone here is familiar with the Call of the Void, right?
No, actually.
Okay, the Call of the Void. You all know what it is. It's basically, you know when let's say you're like driving a car or something, and you have that urge to just like ram into someone in front of you or to the side or just like basically fuck up your entire life.
That's not Call
Okay.
of the Void. That's just that's suicidal ideation.
Or like no, that's what it
No,
means. Like,
I
you
get
have
what
the call
Keksi
to
is
the
talking
void.
about.
You're going to fall
Yeah.
into the void. So now it's the same thing. Like let's say you're on like the edge of a cliff. You have that urge to jump off. You're not going to do it, but like the urge is still there. Like you feel the need to like you all you're not. You guys aren't stupid. You all have this feeling. So basically, this show is like a culmination of all of that. Everything that like you think. I don't know if that says a lot about me. Everything. Let me rephrase that. So the show, like
should I be like calling someone?
the show,
Are you
Let him
putting a
cook,
number
let him
on
cook.
the screen right now?
everything. Let me cook. Everything about the show that you see is like doing the worst imaginable thing you could possibly do in that scenario and just following through with it with no repercussions to a point where even the characters that are getting harassed start to like it. And it's fucking beautiful.
You know what? Actually, you're right, because watching this show, I did feel the urge to want to kill myself. So
It's fucking
you
beautiful.
know, you might be spitting yet.
I'm spitting, dude. Okay, look. My bar for things is pretty high nowadays. I think you can tell by how much of like a negative Nancy I've been with most of the shows this season. But this show, the fact that like it's uncensored on top of that, and it like the magical girl scenes are also uncensored. It's like the transformations, like everything about this show is like what I have wanted in my life, and now it's here and it exists. Like I went through this whole phase for I think like 2 or 3 years where I was kind of like skimming through shows trying to find ones that were like just super unhinged and like they did not like give a shit. Like sort of the same idea of like Orimo, where it's like something so taboo that you wouldn't think someone would actually write an entire series about it and actually put like production value into it and that kind of thing. Because this show is like one of the best looking series this entire season, and it's not even close. Like the scenes are animated like pristinely. Like the foreplay is immaculate. Like they do blue ball you a lot, but like it works because the girl like follows through on it. And it just keeps getting better every episode. I'm so excited to see where this goes. Thanks for.
So I have a
You
lot
can't
to
explain-
say.
You are not beating the Gooner allegations. I'm sorry.
I'm so happy for this debate.
Dude,
to
I don't
happen
even want to
again.
hear that, man. Okay, look, I was watching this with my beloved, right? And the entire time, she's the one shouting fucking rape her. So, like, this isn't, like, a gooner thing, okay? Like, this is a good show, and I don't want to hear it. Like, this is everything I could have wanted and more. Thanks for watching.
So I sort of get where
There's a lot
Keksi is
to
coming
unpack
from.
there.
I sort of get it. And I have a different justification for liking it ish, but then there's also the massive array of asterisks that we will surely dive into. But to have a point of connection, I will give Keksi some gushing praise, right? So the main girl Utena, I like the contrast between, oh, she's this super shy fucking dork who nobody notices in school, and she's obsessed with magical girls. But as it turns out, that obsession with magical girls, it wasn't pure. It wasn't just, oh, I idolize them. It's, oh, actually I watch them fight people because I like it when they get hurt, because I like them so much. But I also want to hurt them because I'm a sadist. And that push and pull, the contrast between her maniacal sadism versus her shyness, it's like a more exaggerated version of the main character in Bishonen Tentaiden, which I still have to read more of and also watch more of, because the anime seems like it'd be good. But yeah, it's basically that cranked up to 11. Well, also in Bishonen Tentaiden it wasn't sexual, but more so she was just an asshole, and that was contrasted against her meekness. But I like that contrast at its core. So anyway, that's the most praise I can give this show's writing for the most part. Well, also in that the BDSM, although embarrassing to watch and makes me the first time I saw it, I was like, I'm ashamed to be an anime
Okay,
fan
like maybe
watching
if you're
this.
watching this alone, then like it might be a little different. But for me, like watching this with like someone else is like bliss.
Okay,
Like,
you had the benefit of watching it with your partner. That's not fair. I would.
This
if
show
I
was
had
fucking
someone to watch that
beautiful.
show with like that, I feel like I would get like 10 times more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, but but I do see why it's entertaining to see it just go so extreme. Because for whatever I'm about to say about this episode, it sure is entertaining. I was not bored, and I do want to watch another episode out of half morbid fascination, and also because it's not boring. So, I might get entertainment out of it in the future. But whereas with the legitimately good shows, I can see myself finishing them depending on how they go. With this show, given what it's shown so far, I could see this premise getting dull after 3 episodes as opposed
It
to
doesn't.
1.
It doesn't. It gets better.
All right, so anyway,
They build.
now on to me criticizing the hell out of this episode. The exposition is insufferable. The way they set up Utena's character is so ass backwards and so boring, and so why would you do it that way? Because so that push and pull between being shy and being a sadist, it would be so much more entertaining if I was able to get more of a feel for her shy side and to get invested and hooked into it at least a little bit before we see the inverse of that, so that the contrast really hits hard. But instead, the way her shyness is exposited to the viewer, because it really is exposition, her little partner, the little scrunklo black
QB.
floating thing,
Yeah. Evil Cube.
Yeah, evil Q. Well, normal QA
Well,
is also evil, but
Alter. You know what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean.
Black QA.
Evil
That makes
Black
it sound
QB.
wrong, but okay.
Umbreon QB fusion.
For
Yeah,
sure.
Umbreon and QB's love child. There we go. So he's just like, I don't even know if it's a he or she, but there we go. It just exposits her characterization for the audience. It tells us, hey, you are just an ordinary girl. You sure are ordinary, huh? No one ever notices you in class. You also idolize these magical girls. Damn, that do be sweet though. And I'm like, first of all, I knew that just by looking at her design. Like, and also literally the first minute of the episode is her looking at the magical girls in the sky and being like, damn, I want to be just like them for real. So why are you telling me this? I already know that. But second of all, you could have just like spent a few minutes, it wouldn't have even taken that long, but a few minutes of this 23-minute episode, quite a lot of time, to like maybe show her ordinary day, maybe see her just chatting it up with
Crunchy,
Kyubey
that
X
would take away
Umbreon.
from
Yes.
the molestation.
Yeah, what are you talking about, dude? They
Well-
have to make room for the good stuff.
They could have also just taken out the exposition and it would have had the same effect. We already
Yeah, see,
like from her
I
character
already-
design
yeah.
and from like how she acts in that very beginning stretch. We already know everything that we need to know about her before we get to the rest of the episode.
Yeah, the
The
exposition first
mascot
of all
telling
was
us it
unnecessary.
is not telling us anything that we don't already know.
Yeah. And it's really obnoxious because I'm like, yes, I saw her character design and I already figured all that out. What I want to see is her going through, like, maybe part of a school day. Doesn't even need to be the whole thing, because maybe that'd be pushing it a little. But just some amount of her interacting in a normal way with, Kyubey Umbreon, whatever. Or maybe a classmate tries to talk to her and we get to see her, we get to see just how shy she is. I want some elaboration on that so that I can understand the depth of what we're dealing with before it
Well, I
switches
think
to
her-
sadism.
I think her actions speak for themselves, though. Like, once she gets later in and starts, like, doing her thing, like, I think that said a lot about her character that, like, we needed to know. So, like,
I think that
overall-
if they just got rid of the exposition, it would be fine because, the debate, for some context, there was a debate yesterday on
It
the
derailed.
the podcast's Discord server about this show. And
Yeah, me
during
and
that time, I read
Pikazu.
10 chapters of the manga. It does kind of do that thing that you were saying that you wanted to see, Crunchy. Over the
But the
course of
issue
those 10
is,
episodes,
you know-
or those 10 chapters.
don't tell
um,
me.
But the
No,
issue
it
is...
naturally adds that kind of thing throughout the story. It's just
But
you don't
see-
need to see that at the very beginning. Or you don't need to be told that at
see-
the very beginning.
I need to see that at the very beginning, because until that point, I'm not going to like Utena nearly as much as I feel like I should. Because I feel like what the show is cooking seems like it's got, this good basic formula. It just needs the spice there. It needs a little bit of that Walter White,
It's
put
got
in the
spice.
X ingredient. Well, yeah.
It's
Got
got
spice and
spice.
everything
It's-
nice.
It's got a
Oh my
big
God.
jar of spice with the 3 big red X's printed over the side of it.
It's got
and
enough
some weird
spice to
sticky stuff
send
on the
you.
handle.
It's got enough spice
this-
to send you through that psychedelic scene in the regular show episode where Benson, Mordecai, and Rigby like eat those peppers, and it's just that
This is
entire
just
scene. Yeah, that's
a
how much
pile of
spice the
peppers.
show as a whole has.
Dude, like,
But
I don't know. I honestly think Utena's, like, pretty revolutionary in this series. Like, she does things that...
I see what you did there.
yeah, she does things that, like, you never would expect an anime protagonist to do. Like, maybe in a hentai, but, like... And this is pretty close to that. I would consider this to just be a hentai at some
Which
point.
brings me
honestly.
to my point.
Yeah? What were you gonna say?
Why wasn't this hentai?
Oh. I mean... Does the title really, or does the genre really matter that much? Like, I feel like this does everything a hentai would do, just without, like, taking off the pants.
fucking.
Well, it does actually. I think it does in one of, like, the later episodes. But there's, like, a lot of stuff in this where yeah, the main thing I'm concerned that it's gonna do, and I don't know if this is what you were mentioning, Kai, or like with like the whole conversation yesterday, because I actually just didn't read it. The main thing I'm concerned is that she's gonna like start feeling bad, and she's gonna see these people as like actual humans and change her ways, and I don't want that. I want her to like just fall deeper and
highly
deeper
doubt
into
that.
this
You
pit.
good if I like
Fall deeper
do a
and deeper
one
into this
sentence
void.
spoiler to that?
Go ahead.
Or one word? No.
Yes. Wait, is that a good thing or a bad thing? No, like, does she get
It
better or
doesn't go
worse?
down that route. It just gets
doesn't?
unhinged. It gets more unhinged.
Yes. Oh my god, this is gonna be anime of the year,
In
dude.
episode 3, they introduce basically an enabler.
I'm gonna be
for
honest,
her.
Chapter 10, you might be past that with episode 3. Though. Like,
Holy
I have no
shrimp.
clue.
Okay, I might. Yeah, like episode.
It's the introduction
Yeah.
of Kiwi.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was
they,
just
like, go
saying
on a
that,
date.
like, that seeing her in school thing that Crunchy was mentioning, we see that throughout those 10 chapters, which might be within 3 episodes. I have no clue. So
Oh, okay.
I'm personally not watching this one.
Oh yeah,
I'm
also
personally sticking to
Keksi,
this all the way.
what you were saying about the show looking phenomenal. the character designs are, first of all, the best part of the show. They're god tier, and honestly, probably is the only thing stopping me from calling this episode bad, because I just like seeing the character designs that much. I want to just see a show of these characters moving around and interacting. However, the backgrounds are atrocious. The backgrounds
Honestly, I didn't even look.
not fit the characters at all. It's the same stock, generic, horrid-looking backgrounds as a lot of the more shitter tier isekai this season. And it's just, it's masked a little better, it's composited fairly well, but if you actually pay attention to the backgrounds, they do not look that good.
Personally, I was focusing on, like, the more important aspects of the framing, but, like, overall, I think, like, the animation is
you had
pretty
to pay
solid.
attention to the background, otherwise you would have missed the Pop Team Epic reference.
I did see that.
I did notice it.
That was good. That was actually good. There's, like, a lot of subtle things in this.
There of all places.
Yeah, well, it makes a little sense. But yeah, like, there's like a lot of little, like, cultural nods and stuff throughout, like, these episodes, I noticed, where the people who make this, like, obviously cared, like, a lot. Like, there's like, this has some of, like, the best animation this season, the best art this season. I just find it really funny.
Of course they put effort into it.
Yeah,
it's
like, everyone wanted to make this. Like, this wasn't some, like, fucking Mr. Villain's Day Off shit where they just felt, like, obligated to, like, please the Fujoshis or whatever. Like, they wanted to do this. So they went all in, and I love it. And it's by, like, a studio that hasn't made much else.
That's the thing about fetishes and the niches within them. The more niche it is, the more more someone is willing to pay for the best incarnation of it.
Yeah,
because everyone's into vanilla, but it's why furry artists are so goddamn rich.
True. Yeah, I'm really hoping this anime definitely gets, like, more popular. It seemed pretty low on, like, the popularity polls and stuff.
I think its very nature is going to prevent it from getting very popular.
Yeah,
the Gooner community.
To an extent, I kind of disagree though, because, like, you've seen, like, Orimo and Aramanga and stuff, and that's pretty taboo.
Yeah, but they didn't go like this hard.
The anime community has fundamentally changed since then, though.
They don't have nudity in them.
I think a lot of people will just get, like, I'm sure there's gonna be people trying to cancel me over my opinion on this show as is. Like, the anime community compared to, like, what it was in, like, 2016 is just completely different beast now.
So, I do think,
but imagine the spilling the milk titles. Imagine those thumbnails.
I think Kazu mentioned that the Blu-ray has already sold out, so I think it's getting a season 2 almost no matter what.
Yeah, my point exactly about the niche art thing,
like,
and
it's
people willing to pay for it.
Physical media especially is, like, so much more of a profit driver that this is probably getting a season 2, kind of regardless how the rest of it goes.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I would not be surprised in the least.
I'm actually really happy now. Okay, sweet. Good. Yeah. Great show. Amazing show. Please don't cancel me, guys. It was pretty.
I feel like it just doesn't have.
Please don't cancel me. Cancel my girlfriend who yelled "rape them" at the television screen.
Like,
look, I think I could recommend this as if you're watching a show with your buddies. Like, I could see how this would be a fun time.
I would not want to watch this show with my friends in the room.
No, if you're like all on board with the idea that this is going to just be,
I don't have any IRL friends
insane.
that would
hey guys,
you want to watch?
You want to watch 3 high school girls getting molested every episode?
Like, the biggest turnoff for me is that they mention it's 14, and I'm like, oh god.
Dude, when Cubrion says, "Oh yeah, I'll post these, like, lewd pictures of you online," I just put in my notes, "Oh, she's a minor. You're gonna get arrested for child pornography."
It's Japan, dude. It's a little different there, but yeah.
It's not
as
nearly
much as
that
you
different.
Not that different. Oh my god.
Oh shit! I just smacked my mic. But yeah, I think I've said my piece on this one, honestly. But yeah,
I just don't think it has much to offer outside of the scenes, the spice. And
in which
granted,
case, I
those
would just
are
watch an X videos compilation of it, and then be wishing that it was a hentai, so that way it could have all of these cool designs, this cool animation, but also serve more of a complete the Gooner purpose that it was clearly created to be for.
I
If
like
the premise sounds appealing, I
how-
think this is a good show. But
I like
it's not
how
appealing to me.
extreme it is, in a sense. But once again, mostly just in the context of contrasting against Utena's shyness. And I don't think they did a good enough job of selling me on Utena as a character. So I'll give it some more episodes, because it's only a 5 as of episode 1. No, it could improve to a 6, but it probably won't be worth my time. I'll probably drop it after episode 2 or 3.
I hope you
Because
don't.
like I am not against a show about a main character who is, all shy and cutesy, reserved on the outside, but on the inside is a secret BDSM dom kink. Because that could be explored in an interesting way. I just feel like instead of doing anything like narrative with it regarding the narrative or any kind of plot that could be in the show, is just going to be
Don't
taking a
mention
massive
plot.
backseat
Hikazu is gonna
to the
send you an
actual
essay.
act of to the actual act of like what she does to the girls. And like the only somewhat interesting thing about it is that the girls are slowly but surely like shown to be getting into it, especially the blue one, who is very obviously going to have an arc where she's like, oh, maybe I like getting dominated.
Oh,
and,
literally the next episode,
uh,
dude.
Yeah, I know. She
Yeah.
gets felt up against her will, but then it's like, yeah, actually, no, well, I guess it wasn't that bad by the end.
Yeah.
And it's like, like that's cool and all, but I just kind of felt weird. I also hate that she knows them from high school.
Oh yeah, that part was
like,
I
she,
was
like-
very confused by that. Yeah.
Does she?
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
like,
it's
I don't
brought
think
up
she
that they have
realizes.
I was made
magic.
uncomfortable by that. It's like,
I don't think she realizes. I think it's like
No, she doesn't know, but
the audience knows
Okay.
because like we can see, but I don't think in
Okay.
universe she has realized that yet.
No,
yeah,
there's like
you're
a
right.
magic
I do
explanation.
remember them.
And
making,
vice versa.
yeah,
I don't think
they
they
did
realize
explain
that
it
it's
like
her.
that.
no, I feel like they did. But they couldn't say anything about it. There was like they did actually like elaborate on that. One of the magical girls said something about it, but I don't remember exactly what she said. But yeah, like I'll just keep it real. Like this is one of those shows, right? Like we live in a world now where everything is like extremely politically correct, extremely like you will get canceled for like anything, so people just like don't even attempt things anymore. So for me, this show was just like very refreshing and different from what I'm like accustomed to seeing. Like it's something I didn't like, let alone getting made in like 2005. This is something I did not expect to get made in 2024 of all things. So
I feel like if
Just
you
on
want
that, it has
a
merit.
fan service show though, with this kind of nudity as well, I would sooner recommend 1,000 times over Interspecies Reviewers, because that show actually threw in some great world building that's legitimately interesting to see. Its new mechanics
True,
of the
that-
world get added every episode.
that actually was
And
pretty
they
similar.
even throw in the occasional theming about the nature of critics and critiquing.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. And Interspecies
Whereas,
was
what
like
what are the themes of this show outside of a girl
That
discovering
is the theme,
she
dude.
likes?
it's-
what is
it's a coming of
that's a hen-
age
that's not
story,
a theme.
okay?
That's a plot.
It's
that's
coming
a plot
of age.
synopsis for a hentai.
I think trying to judge it off of just one episode in that regard is hard, because I don't think Interspecies Reviewers really started that during the first episode. It was when you started to
didn't,
expand
but,
it
but
past that.
All right, I'll bring up an example of a fan service laden show that did though. My Dress Up Darling, when it introduced its
We're not comparing
acceptance
this show
of-
to art here. Like we're like keep that far away.
My Dress Up Darling introduced themes of some like taboo subjects that like some people might say they're weird, but you know what? Like if you enjoy it and it's not hurting anyone, then they'll fuck them, right?
Look, I'm not
Like, you
comparing a
can-
show about the philosophy of art that happens to have fan service with this. Like very different like themes,
Well,
different
that's
ideas that
part
they're
of my
exploring.
point though. If like this show has no other higher purpose than if it's not allowed to be compared to art like Dress Up Darling, and serves no higher purpose than just being some BDSM spank bank material, then why didn't they make it a hentai and just go full hog?
I think they're made for fundamentally different audiences. Like, this has its appeal
They're
within the
made
audience.
for edgers.
This
one's
has its
for
appeal
goony
within
edgers.
the audience that it's going to get. As someone who keeps up with the My Dress Up Darling manga as it gets released, like, it's a very different appeal.
You know what? My final
I'm just
note
saying,
on
I was sold on the world of interspecies reviewers after episode 1. I was sold on the world of My Dress Up Darling episode 1. I was not sold on the world of gushing over magical girls at the end of episode 1, outside of its really good character designs and its title, which is very clever.
You're lost, man. It is what it is.
listen. All I'm gonna say is that
I have a very strong suspicion I will get the same amount of enjoyment that I'd get from watching the show when I just watch the X videos compilation when it's done.
Surely you'll watch. Yeah, for sure. Okay. You keep thinking that, buddy. What were you gonna say, Crunchy?
Yeah, listen, all I'm gonna say is that gushing over magical girls is better than cyberpunk edgerunners because edgerunners has false
What?
Fucking kill
advertising.
you.
Actually,
not-
so
it-
true.
No, it said edgerunners. There was nothing to edge to, but magic, gushing.
Rebecca!
it does have edging.
Rebecca was in her underwear
so-
in that one episode.
True, I am lying. I just wanted to. Be
Also,
dumb.
there's nudity and fucking in Edge Runners.
Listen,
It's
I
not
just
the
wanted to
same.
make the pun.
It's bad.
Let's not
You
think too
should
deep
feel
into this.
bad.
All right.
Oh god, voice crack. Next show. This one, in my opinion, is actually good. Bucchigiri.
Bucchigiri.
This was the biggest surprise of this block. I was shocked at how much I enjoyed this.
Yeah, so
Ah.
Bucchigiri it's an anime original from Mappa. I actually really need to look up who directed it because whoever it was did a phenomenal job. So I'm looking. It
think it's
is
Hiro-
Hiroko Utsumi.
You got it.
Yep.
What's he done? Anything
Banana
noteworthy?
Has
Fish, I wanna say?
or it's actually she. And Banana Fish. She did Skate the Infinity. So she does have
Infinity.
Yeah, she does have quite a few shows under her belt in the past, and she is doing a phenomenal job with this one. There's so much life poured into just you can tell the bounciness of the animation, or like when it zooms out and the characters get so simplified and they do, all these ridiculous movements. That's clearly a directing thing because that's not normally with Mappa shows or anything like that. And
Not with Mappa animators.
yeah, and God, I
They-
have so
they
many
don't
screenshots
take
from
breaks.
this show.
Mappa animators hear the word break and they're like, oh, and they say, oh yeah, that's the sound my wrist makes after drawing for over 100 hours.
But dude, the setting of this show is so cool. Of all the settings of this season, this is the one I was most immediately sold on. Just because, all right, so a funny story actually. Excel Saga, the most recent episode of that I've seen, literally took place in a high school where every student was a delinquent. And then I watched this show, and it takes place in a high school where every student is a delinquent. Except in Excel Saga, the joke is that they all have the same hairstyle, except for the one guy who has the same hairstyle, but comically long, and it's fucking hilarious. But in this show, they actually take the setting completely seriously. So there's just casual sort of gang warfare outside the window, and the teachers just calmly acknowledge it, but don't do anything to step in, because they know they'll get their ass kicked if they try to step in, and because it's just so rampant, because they just continually don't do anything about it to the point where everyone now is involved in it pretty much, or knows someone who is involved in it. And so at this point, the problem has just become so large that they can't solve it, at least the teachers. And there's graffiti everywhere. They're presumably too afraid to punish students, or else they'll, get their ass kicked as well. During lessons, they don't pay attention at all. And it's all depicted with this low-key dark green color palette that and like the compositing is perfect. The characters feel so naturally placed within the setting. This show has the best backgrounds.
Yeah, I
of,
was gonna say. Yeah.
yeah.
I almost think they're too cluttered, actually.
Oh,
Really?
Like, it takes away, in my opinion, it took away from the action sometimes. Like, my eyes were drifting away from the characters to the background.
Oh, I just loved
never
looking
had
at
that
all the
problem.
stuff in the background. Yeah. Like, to me, it was just an added treat where, because of the way everything is framed, you know, it all feels nicely put together. You can see where everything is. It's not too cluttered, in my opinion. But also, if you so choose, your eyes can drift to the immaculately drawn backgrounds with all this detail. It's like a 2-for-1 combo. It's so good. And like, dude, all the character designs look great, and the way, just the way they're drawn.
Dude, the fucking gang leader of the Sigma squad, who's the older brother of the incest braids girl.
Incest braids girl.
I'm sorry,
Her name
what?
is Mahodo, by the way.
Mahodo, yeah, the one who's in love with her brother.
Yeah. Oh, funny story,
Are
by
they-
the way. The second I saw Mahodo appear on screen, I instantly said, she's gonna backstab the main character. I was right.
Well, maybe it wasn't a full-on backstab, but
I mean,
I
kinda.
did not catch the incest implications, but oh well.
there might.
It's more of a
I think
brocon
they
thing.
said different names. I would have to look at the page again to see if there are actually blood siblings or not. Let me check real quick. Jin Marito, Jin Mahodo. Oh no, yeah, they are in fact siblings.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and she had like hearts over her eyes. It's not necessarily incest. I think Neon is just being funny. We don't know that.
Am I?
She just had hearts in her eyes about how cool it is for her brother to beat
during
people
the
up.
ending. She's shown not to reciprocate any of the male character's feelings until she sees her brother, in which case she starts shooting hearts out of her eyes.
I will say the ED is fantastic for this show.
Dude, both the OP and the ED are great.
Like,
yeah, the ED is
I
literally
personally
just
did not
her
rate the show
rejecting
that
every
high,
guy.
but like the ED and OP, top tier.
The most interesting thing about this show to me is that I watched a single episode of it so far, and I still don't really know where it's going. But I mean that in a positive-ish way, where it's like, it could shit the fan, or I guess that would be shit hitting the fan. But, you know, it
Could do
could
either.
go in a bad direction. I have no idea, but for now, like, it seems like such a disparate array of ideas brought together. So it's about this fighting style called Bunki, I'm pretty sure. And Bunki is, you don't fight with a sword nor armor, you gotta be courageous to do it. And so you just fight them barehanded. And I'm assuming that's tied into the gang warfare at school that the main character is almost certainly going to get entrenched in on some level. And it'll probably eventually spread out maybe to other schools. Maybe there's more gang stuff to this entire town than meets the eye. You know, this is not really set in stone where it could go. He also has these magic powers given to him by Senya, this sort of genie in a lamp-esque figure who wants to grant him a wish. His wish being that he wants to
Except instead of a
have
lamp,
sex.
it's a gun that he accidentally shoots himself in the
Yeah.
head with.
I neglected to mention that, yeah, he shoots himself on accident while trying to defend himself. But, yeah, he just gets himself hit with a bullet in the head, but then he tries unscrewing it and bam, genie. Just like in real life. And,
Of course.
Don't try this at home.
yeah, and he basically is there to
Do
grant
it. It's
any
like Persona
wish.
3.
And you know, he punches the guy at the end of the episode really hard, and we don't really know where the show goes from there. At least I don't, because I haven't
I
watched
think he
ahead
just
yet.
wants to lose his
I think it's
virginity or
just one
something.
episode
Well,
so
yeah.
far, as of recording this.
I
Alright,
had
let me
a
check
sneaking
Annie list.
suspicion.
Yeah,
So
episode
I
2 is
watched it
10
like
hours.
last night because I forgot that this show existed.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the show is going when he made the wish to lose his virginity, and because they place so much emphasis on the childhood best friend character, I thought the genie twist is that, oh, you're gonna lose your virginity, you're just gonna lose like your anal virginity or some shit to your male best friend here.
I don't think
did
they'd go
not
that
have
deep.
that same thought.
I don't think that's gonna happen.
There was an overwhelming amount of male characters versus female characters in the
That's
opening.
true,
and
and that's
ending, is
why
all
I
I'm
didn't like it
saying.
too much. But I did like the background art. Yeah, there is a. I did like. I don't know if anyone...
and mind you, this is from the Banana Fish and Skate the Infinity director.
Oh, it's so.
That
the
is
homosexual
fair.
tendencies
Oh god,
speak for themselves.
I didn't know that. I guess I can see it from the art style. Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of the art style. I did like the background art. But did anyone
love
else
the
like
art style.
notice the woke translations in this? Like he literally goes like first name calling hype. Like I don't know if I have a screenshot.
That
of this.
that was not in
I got
my
that
subs.
Hold on, I don't know
I
what
don't-
I was.
I
reading.
mean, I
watched it on
don't-
Crunchyroll.
In
I have no
Hokkaido
clue.
Gals,
That sounds
the
red
gal-
line
the
on
girl,
Crunchyroll,
like, straight up
though.
said
The
word
other one was
mid.
awful. No, they said some crazy shit in that one. Yeah, I forgot to even mention that. But
I actually thought that was funny just because they talked like me. She called Hokkaido mid offhandedly in a line. And I was like, just like us! Oh my god!
Oh, that makes more sense because
nuts.
Gyaru, it's kind of the like
no, I thought
part of the
that too.
characterization.
But that's not true. Like I was thinking that's what I thought they were doing. But then the main guy also does some like Zoomer language. So I think it's literally just the translators having a field day or something. Because it wasn't
This is why
exclusive
we
just to
gotta
her.
replace them all with AI. And keep them
Hell
in
yeah,
check.
that's what I'm talking about.
I do
Yeah,
not co-sign what Neon just said anyway.
I was joking.
I'm
Sure,
aware.
sure.
But yeah, I really like this show. I really like its vibe. I think from what I can deduce of the premise, I'll probably enjoy it. Just because, to me, this is funny. Instead of like big earth-shattering battles, honestly, what appeals to me more is just like something smaller scale and school children fighting like in high school and having these stupid gang fights. Yeah, like that's the smallest possible scale in a way, and I think that's cool, and I'm down to watch that premise to its end. And of all the shows I've seen of this specific block, I haven't seen anything from next block, but if we're just talking about all the shows from this block, it's my favorite. Like I'm gassing this
Okay.
one up 100%.
Okay. I see. Didn't expect you to like it that much. Wow.
This show feels like it's out of the 90s with like the JoJo's, like it gave me JoJo vibes the most out
Give
of
me some
any
GTO
show
vibes.
this
I
season.
am a big fan of the genie character.
Yeah,
was
he's
pretty good.
cool. Like the first time when
okay.
he says, "Oh, hey, I want to lose my virginity," I can help you, but it's actually, oh yeah, I'll
And then the
have
second
sex
time
with
at
you.
the end where it's like, come on, main character guy, tell me one more time, what is your wish when he's getting the shit kicked out of him? And he's like, come on, do I even need to say it? I want to lose my virginity. And then he stands back up, catches his kick, and fucking wallops him with a big punch to the gun. Like, hell yeah.
Dude, I love all the faces that he makes towards the genie during the date with Mahodo, where he's, like trying to cheer him on in a way, but he's like being distracting, and then the main character just can't help but just snap at him, and so he looks like a schizophrenic in front of Mahodo. That was great. I don't know why I remember Mahodo's name and not Arajin.
Because you like mentally ill women.
I can, by the way, confirm that one frame, the sub, is the official sub.
Oh yeah.
I just checked.
Yeah.
That is
I
wild.
thought. Yeah. Woke translators are hitting different nowadays. I don't.
Is it
I-
really woke if it's it's the lingo that we use today?
It's not
Well,
implying
like,
anything.
does this?
I'll
What do
live
they
with it.
say? What are they saying in Japan? In Japanese? That's what I want to know. Like, I don't have like a problem with it. I actually don't care. I think it makes the show funnier because like it gives me something to like.
I imagine
pretty
it's
entertaining.
some kind of English-ified translation of like Japanese
Yeah,
lingo.
definitely a little localized. Yeah, I mean it's
So
literally
I
like not a
imagine
big
it's just
deal.
localization.
I think for the most part it just makes it funny, so I don't mind.
Yeah, dude, literally
Yeah.
all the screenshots I have on my computer of shows this season are from this one. Like, I went
Actually-
crazy
Oh, damn.
snapping every possible screenshot.
The action animation did go off at the end when he powers up and starts fighting the dude. If episode 2 has a baller ass Mappa fight scene, then this show might be one to keep your eye on.
For sure.
Yeah, this show's so fucking good. At least this episode. I really hope it doesn't fall off. Because that would be a travesty. Like, the travesty to end all travesties.
Yeah, this feels like if
Hey.
it's an appealing premise to you, this feels like it's going to be one of the best shows this season. But like,
You can't keep saying that about every show. One of them has to be.
oh no, I've
blanket good
trashed on a
across the
bunch so
board.
far, and next block, oh my god, I'm going to murder some of them. But like, this is just not my thing.
That's fair.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
is the Demon Prince of Momochi
No.
House your thing? Well, I didn't even finish the sentence.
Is that one real? Did I gaslight myself into thinking that one was real when I put it on the list?
No, this is real.
No, it's real.
So
And
I'm gonna be real
Unfortunately-
with you.
Let me murder a show.
So I'm gonna tell you all the memories I have of this show because there are not many. So I was having myself some potato, egg, and cheese casserole, and I put this show on, and I immediately see this girl walking through the forest, and she goes, "Hi, my name is whatever it was. My parents died when I was young. I'm now part of an orphanage. I want to see my parents. They left me a house." I'm like, shut up. You're just paraphrasing what should have been the first like few minutes of the episode. You're just explaining what you are when
Horrible
you could have
start.
shown me that. And then she walks up to the house, and then it gets blown open, and there's some extremely generic naked dude. And that's when I clicked off of the episode because his design was so painfully average and so
Oh, God,
unmemorable
dude.
that I clicked off of the show, tried to summon it in my mind, and could not. And so I don't want to watch any more of it.
That's fair. I made it through the whole thing, granted on a 4X, so it lasted like my memories of this are like 8 minutes long, but like the show itself it wasn't very good. It's like exactly what you would expect. It's just like this girl, like a reverse harem. All these like guys are like living in the house.
It looks like a shitty fruits basket.
Yes, that is exactly what I was gonna say. It is just like a worse fruits basket. They live in this stupid demon house and they do demon things, I guess. And they all want her to leave. So that's
Like-
about. And then
Oh, so it is fruits basket.
Yeah,
this
like
this show could have an appeal if it looked okay, but it is ugly as sin. Like, this is some of the worst looking
it's
animation
so
this season.
ugly.
Like, the opening thing where she's walking through the forest, the bushes are like these 2D like images, and she, like, as you walk past them, you see like how they're just flat. Like, it looks
Yeah.
like they rendered it in 3D.
You know what?
and it just
I'm looking at.
it's
I'm
god
looking at
awful.
clips of it right now. Do you know what the main character the girl looks like? She looks like the one fucking girl from what was that one anime from like I think 1 or 2 years ago about they got switched at birth from like gang families and now they're like supposed to date
Oh,
and
God.
marry.
Oh my God,
I
I
remember
remember-
that. I do not remember what it's called.
The main girl looks like the main girl from that show.
I literally do not remember what the girl in this looked like at all. I just remember that I think
Me
there was a guy
neither.
with white hair, and that was it. Nothing about this stood out to me.
Let's see.
Maybe that's 'cause it
Demon
was
Prince
4X,
of
but, like,
Momochi
There was nothing for
House.
me here.
Let's see what these
Like-
characters look like.
Whoever was directing like the shots themselves,
That would
it
be
was like
Bob Shirahata.
they had to be drunk doing it. There are so many weird Dutch angles where I'm like, can't you just have the camera straight? The angle is not doing anything for you. If
Dude, it's
anything
cinematic,
else,
like,
it's showing
come on.
how just jank your art is. Like, just have a like halfway decent framing
Well,
Like,
hold
Jesus
on.
Christ.
Maybe they're using the Dutch angles to show how hilly the area is, so they're slightly diagonal on the hill.
Yeah, in a
Ah,
house.
yeah, no. There's like this one
It's
shot that I remember
foreboding,
where like
dude.
the
Come
house is
on.
going one direction on the like it's a Dutch angle. House is going like one direction, and then the character is leaning like away from it. But it's like it's clearly an animation mistake, but it's just so
Oh, dude, you
obvious
just
that
don't
they
get
did
it.
not care about how the show itself looked when it's a fan service show at its core. Like,
I
how do
think
you
just
mess that up
missed
when it's the
political
appeal of your show?
commentary. I don't understand how you just didn't understand the intricate political theming about, you know, the birth of no, not the birth, the death of Japan's culture after World War II or whatever. Or there's fighting spirit. That was all in the show. You just missed it. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
The show also has this like weird airbrush look to it. That what's the shitty isekai from last year had the same thing.
Can't
Which
be more
one?
specific than that.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
lot of
come
shitty
on. You just
isekai.
described like half the shows last year.
I'll look it up. It's got this weird airbrush look to it, and it's just not great. There's also like very clear. They use textures in some of the images where it's like this is noticeably higher res than everything else.
Oh yeah, wasn't there like a guy in this who just like had his shirt was just a JPEG, right? Like it
Yeah.
was like a blue.
His
That
robe
was
is
like
just
some
a
fucking-
JPEG,
They
and
pulled
it
that shit out
looks
of
so much sharper than
Gankutsuo.
everything
Like,
else.
what were they doing? Like, it looked so bad. At least with like Gankutsuo, like Gonzo made it like a style thing where like everything had it. But with this, it's like nothing aside from that one character has like a JPEG as his outfit, and it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, that weirded me out a lot. I don't know. Nothing about this show stood out. I'm surprised we still managed to be talking about it, considering how fucking
Yeah.
void it was.
I didn't watch it. I'm ready to move on.
Yeah,
to the
like
next show
literally
that I
only
didn't
two of
watch.
us have watched this. Crunchy with barely like.
The show I was thinking of, by the way, is I got a cheat skill in another world and became unraveled
Never
in the
even
real
heard of
world.
it.
Oh, that
Like,
one. That
oh,
one.
That
was, like,
ugly
really
airbrushing
ugly.
that the entire show had to cover up the bad art design.
That show had like some of the worst directing I've ever seen in a TV anime.
Yeah, it's got like that level of art quality.
All right,
So,
so we
not
move on
great.
to the next
Yeah.
one. This is the most unhinged title I've ever seen in like any show, or just like maybe not unhinged, but how is this a real title? I don't know how this happened. I guess I can introduce it. Cherry Magic. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard? And the resolution is that he was a virgin for so long and couldn't talk to girls that he just became gay. So yeah,
I mean,
Pretty-
that is how it works.
pretty interesting plot line, I'd say. Very experimental. It's weird because
Gay.
the show itself, for all the shows that, because this is how it worked, right? I had one day where I was 4xing everything. I had another day where I was like actually watching like the ones that I cared about. Out of the ones I 4x'd, this was easily the one of the best somehow. Like, I did not expect the one show to be
Wait,
like
did,
the
did
gayest
you watch
shit
this one
season.
with your partner?
No, this is a 4x. All the ones I 4x'd alone. And this one was just like it was like weird. Some parts of it were kind of creepy. Like there's like one point in the episode where he like invites him back to the house, but he can like read their mind because he's like a wizard. And then like some weird shenanigans start happening. He's like, "Oh yeah, you can take a bath. Oh yeah, you can sleep here." It's like, what is like this feels kind of like wrong. I know I'm saying that after I just went on like a huge like started gushing over magical girls, but like anyways, with like this show, it was like kind of cute, honestly. Like, it's definitely not my thing, but for like I can see the audience that would enjoy this. And yeah, it was okay.
There's
Not
some
so
solid jokes in
I-
it.
I
Like,
have a
that's the best I
term
can say
that
about
I
it.
like to use about shows like these, and where I call them girlfriend anime, where they're anime that you watch with your girlfriend because you know that you're not gonna like it, or maybe you will, maybe you'll tolerate it, but she is definitely going to like it, and you'll put her in a good mood by watching it with her.
I know. Yeah, I know what you mean. Actually, yeah. There's like a lot of girls that would definitely be into this. A lot of fujos and stuff like that. But yeah, not really, not really my thing. Yeah.
So I didn't hate it as much as I thought it would. In fact, I wasn't really all that bored. Granted, I watched half an episode, so I didn't give it time to let me be bored. But I guess my main issue with it, right? It's it's a yaoi show. And to be fair, I went into this show not knowing it was a yaoi. And so when he first
How?
reads the dude's mind and he starts talking about how cute the bedhead is, I was like, "Oh my god, wait. Is this going in the direction I'm thinking I'm thinking it's going? Wait, please go in that direction. That's fucking hilarious." He's so bad at fucking women that he just goes with men this time. But then you get to the actual sort of building up to the romance scenes. And first of all, I'm not sure how long it's gonna take for them to actually get together. It could take only a few episodes. It could take like multiple seasons. And if it does, then that's bad. But also, I don't know what this yaoi has that other yaoi don't. It's just kind of
He's a
another
wizard.
one of them.
I could tell you one
Yeah,
thing.
he can read minds.
It's got a banger ED. The ED in this
is?
is great.
I didn't
Really?
get to it.
I sat through the
Did you
entire
drop-
thing. I think it's okay. There's like some jokes that land. Like I wrote down a note that as they transition to the guy's house, there's a wolf howling sound. That's a pretty solid joke. Yeah, no, that's it. It's a show that exists.
It's like a surprisingly like, it's fine, right? Like I'm not gonna watch any more of it, but like I can see why it exists. Even if it is just like replicating like everything that's come before it. But like for what it is, it can exist. It's fine. I'll give it permission to exist. Yeah.
It's got a great title.
Yeah, I'm
It
glad you
does.
gave
The
it
title
permission to
carries.
exist, Keksi, because before you said that, like, it didn't have the Keksi permission. I don't know
Yeah,
what it would
like,
do
now
if
it's
it didn't
fine.
get that permission. Yeah, now it's okay
yeah, of
existing.
course. Certified Keksi. Yeah, we're chilling.
Yeah,
But,
but does Sasaki and Peeps get the Keksi seal of this can exist?
Oh, this gets the seal of I 4 times speeded it and still couldn't finish it. So no. This show is like
I made it 10 minutes in, and I was like, no. I made it 12 minutes in, 1/4 of the way through, and I was like, as soon as he said, "Oh, this is one of those isekai things," I immediately shut the episode off.
it's just too long, man. Like this is if
If
this
the
was, like,
show has no
24
energy, I won't give it mine.
and like
So, I actually own the first novel for this light novel series. Now, I haven't read it,
okay.
but the reason why I bought it, first of all, there's an old man on the cover. I think more anime/light novels should focus on older characters.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know the meme. They're all in high school. When I saw like middle-aged looking guy, looks like he's in his late 30s, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Second of all, Kentoku's the artist. He's also the emo-sei artist, for the art in the novels, the character designs, which aren't the best from what I can see. They're definitely no emo-sei, I can say that much. But I like the main guy's design, and I like the high schooler that he lives next to. I like her design. And so he's still got
Yeah, I
that
bet you do.
Kentoku. What's that supposed to mean? I genuinely don't know what you're trying to imply. He won't explain.
anyway, back to
he
the
won't,
show.
he won't
No
elaborate.
elaboration
I don't
needed.
know what you were trying to say.
I felt there was a striking lack of anything to latch onto the whole 12 episode, not 12 episodes. 12
Holy shit,
minutes
you went
that I
all in.
watched.
Yeah. No, that was the main
Um,
issue I had too. Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's this sad, pathetic middle-aged man who's like staring down the barrel of his 40s, at working at a job that he doesn't hate, but is also barely earning him enough to scrape by. So he's just kind of living a meager existence, and the only thing about him outside of that is that he is an animal lover and wants a pet. So he gets a pet, but that pet is a bird that turns out to be from a magic bird from another parallel world, and he gives him the power to go back and forth between the worlds.
So what if I told you he's
see-
no longer at that job at the end of the episode? And that
I'd believe it. He's getting
I believe
rich
it.
from the other world. I got
no,
far, I
he
got
is now-
about
he now works for the
18
government.
It's
minutes
literally the
ish.
plot of like that saving 80,000 gold isekai.
he now works for the government
with an
as
old man instead of
a
a little girl
secret
with a gun.
police.
Wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, it goes off the rails in the second half.
That sounds
Um,
super fun, actually. I want to read the novel
So
now.
I watched the entire episode because I was confused in the first half, like what the heck is the genre here? Because with the bird, I was getting like magical girl vibes because it's like a magical girl mascot, and then you got the isekai aspect. Yeah, no, in the second half they just introduced the how there's like a secret world of espers and they're being controlled by the government, and he gets forced to join a secret government task force to keep the espers in check. And
This
then
sounds like the author
sounds like
took
you're making this
acid
up.
and started
I'm not
free
even joking.
associating.
and then
what?
at the very end, the next door neighbor is revealed as a yandere.
I thought this was gonna be a slice of life, man. What happened?
Yeah, no, this just goes off the rails. I'm actually gonna watch it
I
probably
now
this season.
really want
because
to
it
read
is-
the
So
novel.
wait,
It is crazy.
I had a feeling that the high schooler was into the old dude. I was not expecting the yandere.
Nah, she's a
That sounds
yandere.
Fun.
She has the glowing eyes and everything.
Oh my
That
god.
sounds
yeah.
unhinged.
And like
I'm not
looking
sure.
at the
I don't
poster,
think
there's a
I'd
magical girl
like
in the
it,
poster. I am
per se.
like, I don't know what the genre of this even is. It's just
I feel like the
batshit.
point would be, judging from what you're saying, that it has no genre and is a free association nightmare, and it's just an amalgamation of all the things.
Maybe
It's
like a
probably like
loose
fourth
isekai.
wall breaking insanity that is normal in light novels, but also normally it doesn't go this far. I guess that would be the point, which I did not expect, judging from what I saw of it. What turned me off of the show, I liked the premise of what they were going for with the main dude, but his dialogue, everything that came out of his mouth, bored me to tears. Because it's like, okay, I want to like you. You seem like this old dude who, you're not in the best standing in life. I can sympathize with that. I want to get into you. Not in that way. But anyway, but no, everything that comes out of his mouth is just boring. He likes animals. That's his one other trait. That's his quirk. Why am I supposed to like that? And also the other thing. It takes him forever to understand that this bird is supernatural. Cause this bird, he's talking to it. And he says like, "Oh yeah, I'm from another world. You call me whatever," he said. And at first, okay, I can understand him at this point being, okay, you know what? You're probably just you were taught to say that by some unruly child. Sure, whatever. But then he starts having a conversation with it. The bird starts asking for meat. He still doesn't get it. And there's actually no point where he definitively says, "Wait, this bird is supernatural. What the hell?" He just kind of sees the magic circle, and it's implied that that's the point where he figures it out. Even though he's having a conversation with it before that point.
I think it's supposed to be a joke, but a very
if it's
poorly
supposed
delivered
to be a
one.
joke, it's not framed well enough for it to make sense, and B, it makes the main character unlikable because how is he this fucking dumb?
Yeah, I will say that he is the most boring aspect of everything in this show. Like everything around him is very interesting. He is
That
just
sounds
not.
like an issue, and he's the main character.
Yeah. Like I
Mild
don't think this is a
issue.
great show. I think it is just a nightmare of different ideas getting thrown against a wall that I want to see as a
I
smoking
really want to
garbage
read
pile.
the novel just to see where it goes because it's so insane, and also because Kentoku drew for it. I like Kentoku's art. I like his character designs generally. Once again, they're not necessarily the strongest in this show, but he's still got some hits in there. So yeah, I'm down to read a volume of that, especially considering I already wasted my money on it. So I mean, it's not like I have much of a choice at that point. I'm kind of
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, sunk cost fallacy propels me. But also, the show looks hideous.
Oh my god,
It's not the worst.
So
Yeah, just toss that in.
But
The first episode was double length, and when I realized it, I wanted to cry.
yeah, I was
I
not
couldn't make
expecting that with a show that looked this bad.
Yeah, I was really depressed too, because like this is Silverlink animated this, and like I was hoping it would be something more along the lines of like, because like from the title, Sasaki and Peeps, I kind of thought, okay, so there's some, I didn't realize the peep was like the bird, but yeah, they
Didn't
also
they just do a double length episode with that one fucking Ragna Crimson?
I don't
did they
even
do that
know.
with Silverlink Ragna Crimson?
I don't know,
I
but
think
they did
so,
Prisma and I like that show, so I was really hoping this would be more like that style, but it's really not at all. So yeah, kind of sad.
I think they're also co-producing Hokkaido Gals, so they've got their hands full this season.
Oh damn.
Yeah, Silverlink is
workload,
kind
isn't it?
of a mid-tier to low-tier
Yeah,
studio.
they sometimes hit. Most of the time,
They better
get
not
it.
fuck up Yokozuna Quartet.
don't get your
You
hopes
just
up.
know they will. I don't know what that show is, but don't get your
neither.
hopes up, yeah.
Yeah.
But can you get your hopes up for Meito Isekai no Yu Kaita Kuki? Why is this in Japanese? Around 40 Onsen Mania no Tensei Sakiwa Nonbiri Onsen Tengoku Dashita.
I couldn't find this
Beautiful.
one. I tried to find
I
it.
found it.
I couldn't find
I
it.
found it first try.
It took
Really?
me a long
I
time
didn't
to
watch
find.
it because I saw Isekai in the title.
Yeah, I saw it was
So-
3 minutes.
Oh, no, it's
see,
3 minutes.
Crunchy,
It's not like you missed a
cucked
lot.
yourself out of Fox Girl tits.
Wait, really?
Well, see,
This is a mini
I'm-
series, by the way.
yeah.
Yeah, the episode's like 4 minutes long.
We'll see, Your Honor, I am not a gooner, so I did not get more
Damn.
interested upon hearing. Actually, I got slightly more interested just because it wasn't a generic power fantasy. That was
Look, the
my
most-
No,
only
it's just a
increase in
dude who-
intrigue.
The most
Who was a
notable thing
hot
about
spring
this show
enthusiast,
is that
before
there's
he
a
died.
VTuber in the second episode.
Is the second episode out? I only saw
Yeah,
that
second
there was
episode is
a-
out. Mikaneko, who's a very big VTuber in Japan, or was a very big VTuber in Japan, voices a character in it. And that popped up on my timeline today on Twitter. So now that exists.
All I know is that there are elves, and they will be bathing in the hot springs, and we will be there.
That is the
Well,
VTuber
I won't.
character.
We doesn't include me, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Alright, question
yeah,
Neon,
it's
how good is
literally-
the art quality in this, what
Not.
essentially seems to be porn?
Not
Not great.
as good as Gushing Over Magical Girl.
Then
Oh my
why would
God.
I watch it? That's my
'Cause
question.
It's 4 minutes. It makes it easier for you to
4 minutes
skim
with an
the-
OP.
Oh yeah, well yeah, it makes it easier for you to skim the little thumbnail thing to find where the tits are.
Yeah, do they like they cut out the plot for the real plot or something? Like is this just like a hentai? I'm confused. What kind of show is this?
Okay, so it's about it's literally just a short series about a hot spring enthusiast who, when he died, and he got transported to the fantasy world, his first instinct was to, holy shit, I need to check out every single hot spring in this fantasy world because they must be, crazy cool, better than the ones even from my world because this is a magic world. So he goes and he does it, and you would think that he'd be, a weirdo sex pest perv around the cavalcade of girls that will be hanging out with him. But no, he's just completely in it for the hot spring. He does not at any point show any kind of sexual interest or advancement on the girls.
In
fact,
the
what I
3
expect
minutes
of
Fox
that
Girl.
in the 3 minutes that were out.
Yeah. Yeah.
in the Fox Girl transforms. At first, she transforms from her clothed human self into a tiny little furry fox self. Then she transforms into herself but naked. His only reaction is, is is it still a bath when you keep your tail as your human form?
I see. Looks like I didn't miss much. But
Yeah, it
No,
exists.
oh no,
Cool.
you can skip it entirely.
Yeah,
Like, the
I
only
will- I
noteworthy
will,
thing
I
about it
will.
is that it has tits in it.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Any more thoughts on this one then?
Not
I'll be
at
looking
all.
forward to when the elves show up.
Oh, okay.
Took me longer
Okay,
to
so
find
it
it than
seems
actually watch it.
So it seems like this anime wasn't particularly noteworthy. However, Snack Basue, the classic, is almost certainly noteworthy, right? We have notes on it.
I unironically do, not because it's good, but because it's interesting.
I
I
don't
dropped
think this
it.
is terrible. I saw the reaction to the art style. I think there was like a minor controversy because people thought it was AI generated. But like,
I just thought it looked ugly.
Why would they
This
say
is-
It's not AI
AI
generated, it just looks- it just-
generated?
It just is cheaply animated. If anything, it reminded me of like an anime equivalent of South Park.
yeah, for like context, this is the same studio that did Isekai Quartet. So like, their whole thing is like very low budget shows.
Yeah, they do that. They make all of those like chibi side social media anime that you see like a lot of the big anime has them. Like Jujutsu Kaisen, I think, has something like that. Frieren has
like the
one
picture
going on,
dramas
which
and
is-
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they do them for the Isekai shows. So like, I think they did it for Overlord. They did it for ReZero. Like, that's
Yeah,
their
I know
thing.
exact that. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
I think they're also doing one for Frieren right now. I'm not 100% if it's the same studio Puyukai, but yeah, they're most well known for Isekai Quartet because they made all the short ones about those Isekai anyway. So Kadokawa just came up to them and be like, "Hey, what if we just made a crossover comedy?"
Yeah, so I don't remember much about this one because I watched a third of an episode because I saw the animation and the character designs and went, well, that looks kind of ugly. And then I didn't really
And it
want to
is.
continue watching it.
Yeah, this
Like,
is
they don't
like,
even
the-
really. I don't know, it's hard to
The most-
describe.
See, that's why I find so interesting about it, because like it's the best way I can describe it is that it's a comedy slash and like, not necessarily a slice of life, because we only ever hang out at this bar, but it's like for a full length episode's duration. It feels less like a television show and more like you're watching characters just sit at a bar and shoot the shit. And when sometimes they try to tell the occasional joke, and I like the idea of characters, not necessarily going out and exploring a setting, but just coming back to this bar and just like talking about their lives and whatnot. I think the show would have been better if instead of like making up fictional characters, I feel like the show would have been better if they just got a bunch of like voice actors and put them in a booth and been like, okay, improv, talk about like any kind of problems you may have. We'll just animate around it. And maybe like anytime you try to say something, funny or try to liven up the conversation for levity, we'll make a goofy little animation around it.
so what I understand about this show is that it's not really made for Western audiences. There's a lot of references to Japanese TV more generally in this.
Yes, but at the same time, the opening is full of references to Western media. There's a Ninja Turtles reference where there
Yeah.
are cats instead of Ninja Turtles. There's a Pinkie Pie reference.
Yeah, but this is like based off of a like 4-Koma, I think, where it's like very much a parody of Japanese television. So it exists.
Yeah, that if it is, that's where it's lost me, because I like the gag of the guy coming into the bar and being like, don't you know what snack bar like protocol is? You gotta tell us like a story, like a problem that you've been having in your life recently, and we try to give you advice to make yourself feel better. But remember, you can't give us a topic that's like too real or too heavy, otherwise you're gonna bring down the mood. So give us a light problem.
Yeah, see, I didn't hate that, but it's also like I just doubted I'd get attached to anything in the show. It's ugly, so I don't want to look at it or the setting because the character I feel they felt rigged. I'm not sure if they're actually rigged, but they felt
I'm
like
pretty.
rigged.
I think they are not like normally hand drawn. They are probably it's Puyukai. They're definitely like probably Toon Boom model rigged or something.
Yeah, but they also don't mesh with the backgrounds well, so it looks hideous. None of the characters felt like they'd ever be endearing or interesting. Like, also because the grandma is once again ugly. The designs are all ugly. I don't like looking at them. Even the girl who looks like she's supposed to be pretty looks kind of ugly. So it's like I just don't want to watch it. Nothing
Yeah.
about it is appealing to my
Where's the appeal?
senses.
I know what you mean.
I like what it's trying to attempt. I just feel like it did not execute it.
Honestly, if you want characters just talking for long stretches of time in a very naturalistic way where it almost feels like more of a podcast than a show, like early Lucky Star got you more covered than this show.
Oh,
Like the 10-minute conversation where they're just talking about the right way to eat the chocolate coronet.
I
Yeah,
don't think it's a
that's
comparison
just-
at all. Like, this is not like that tier of comedy.
Well, yeah, Lucky Star is actually funny. When it tries to be funny, it is funny. Whereas this show, I did not think was particularly funny. Granted, it has been like literally years since I've seen Lucky Star, so I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass.
Still, there's like not really any point to the show existing, to be honest. Like, there's other shows that have like done similar stuff and made them a little more. The show's just ugly, like plain and simple.
Oh yeah, no,
It just like it's very low budget.
when I said it reminded me of South Park, that I did not mean. In the sense of, oh yeah, South Park is cheaply animated, but it's on purpose because they do it to more better. So that way they can capitalize on contemporary and current events faster than something like The Simpsons or Family Guy, which they have to spend more time animating on. I compared it to South Park because it's cheap. It looks cheap, but at least South Park has an aesthetic that is not unpleasant to look at and matches the setting that it takes place in.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
When I saw the rating on, I think Mal, it was like I think it's the worst rated show this season.
Shocker.
Like going into it, I had low expectations, but then I actually watched it. I'm like, this is not as offensively bad as I thought it would be. There are other shows this season that I think are much worse.
I respect it a lot more than fucking most of the Isekai.
Yeah, it's
Well,
at least
it
trying
tried to
something.
do something.
Yeah, even without watching the Isekai, it is not the lowest on my list. I'll give it that much. There are still 2 other shows I put under it, but I guess I'll leave that unspoiled until we, in the second block, talk about our top 3 and bottom 3 shows.
Hey guys, future Neon Manta here, back at it again with the MLG text-to-speech cause I am too lazy to record an outro at 2 in the morning. If you enjoyed listening to us, then be sure to like the video and let us know down in the comments what your favorite new anime of the winter 2024 season is. Subscribe to Keksi and Kai's channels linked below, and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss part 2 of our seasonal impressions podcast, where we discuss Chained Soldier, A Sign of Affection, Sengoku Yauko, and more. I'm text-to-speech Neon Manta, and you'll see us next time.